Oops.
Huh?
There we go. And I'll get that.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to the Tuesday night marathon here at the Mechanics Institute. This is round 5, FIDE rated, game in 2 hours with 5-second delay. I'm Abel Talamantes, chess director at Mechanics, and with me is FIDE master Paul Whitehead, and with us also is the 3-time champ, Grandmaster Nick DeFermian. How's it going, guys?
Hanging in there. Thank you.
We're going to have some good matches tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to the pros here to go over the games, and I'll get you the Twitch setup.
Okay, thank you.
And go for it.
All right.
And our guys are not going to draw like that Wimpy Carlson and the Pontiac.
I know. Before we turn to the Tuesday night marathon, what's your feeling about this World Championship match, Nick, and the future of chess?
It's Carlson wants to keep his title, and they play very precisely. They have terrific openings, worked out so well. But even in the final position, I thought Carlson could just play on. But an unwillingness to lose a game. So,
Yeah, is that what you think it is?
Yes, I thought that final position you could play. It's but Carlson doesn't like to have any losing chances. He's I guess he worked too hard to get his title.
Yeah, and actually, I was talking to Elliot Winslow today, and that thought occurred to me for the first time that we're getting these boring World Championship matches because of Carlson, and that he's really the one to blame. You know.
Well, his opponents too, because they're not quite as good, and so they're kind of happy with the draw. And even when they have it's okay. They get a draw, and it's you can blame both players, but since Carlson's the champ, I blame him more.
Right. He wants to win a game, but he doesn't want to take the chances that he might need to take in order to do so.
Yes, that's what I think is true.
And Nepomniachtchi actually had some chances against Carlson in the second game, I think. The Catalan.
Yes, that was. And well, I give credit to Carlson for playing a risky opening, so maybe you can't always maybe you can't always play the riskiest lines, otherwise you're sure to lose.
And I think that I noticed that that Carlson is sacrificed a pawn right out of the opening in the first 2 games, and I was wondering if that was to sort of take that away from Nepomniachtchi. That's Nepomniachtchi's sort of street that he likes to walk on. And
that's true. And again, credit to Carlson. The first 2 games playing very actively. It's
yeah. So in a way, it's a war of nerves. It's an interesting war of nerves, but we've kind of already seen this with Karyakin and Caruana, and we're getting tired of it.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
But nobody's going to make a big mistake. It's Karyakin plays, Palmiati plays active chess, but he's not ready to do something just crazy.
Right, and tournaments are different. I mean, tournaments you gamble it up more. The match play the players don't want to take any chances.
Yeah, and that they made it 14 games so that they would be able to.
Well, it looks like even if they put it back to 24 games, We're not going to take any more chances. I mean, that's what people are saying. That, you know, and afterwards the players are talking about their, you know, computer prep and everything. Chess is starting to look a little funny, you know, at this level, I think.
Well, it also happened in the 1984 Karpov-Kasparov match that Karpov was just winning games and Kasparov was taking chances and beating his head against a brick wall, and Karpov won 5 games. But then Karpov wouldn't take any chances, and Kasparov went really defensive, and they had some 20 draws in a row or something. And then finally, Karpov began to get physically very tired.
Yeah, and that just kind of goes to show you, I think Fischer was the first player to say something like that, or maybe it was Capablanca, that once these guys at this level decide not to lose, you know, it's very hard to beat them.
Yes.
You know, and so if they have that attitude first rather than trying to win.
But it's very hard to beat them unless you absolutely have to win. But if you absolutely have to win, somehow the game gets spicier. If Carlsen had to win this 4th game, of course you'd never dream of taking the draw, and the final position he would have been quite happy with. There was like real possibilities to get some sort of mating things with the rook and knight, black king trap. It was very risky because your opponent has an A pawn running down the board, and if you screw up, you get a queen.
Right. Just like in that second game where the Pomniachi made the, you know, Carlsen could have tried for a mating, could have tried to, again, generate something on the king side, maybe with the knight on d6, but allowed Nepomniachtchi just to sack it back.
Yes. Although there, you know, I don't think Carlsen had any advantage. The knight was enough.
Right.
Not really enough to have an advantage.
So the thing is that this is all well and fine against Karyakin and Caruana and maybe even Nepomniachtchi. But somebody's going to come along that's going to knock his head off, and that might be Firouzja in 2 years.
Well, now I want to see Firouzja in the World Championship because he just goes for it.
Yeah.
He really plays chess.
Yeah, I have a feeling it would be I mean, you'd hope that it would be a different story. I mean, somebody has to get, you know, I think we were kind of hoping that Nepomniachtchi would really go after Carlsen in a way that just is beyond his capabilities, maybe.
Yes. Again, nobody makes a mistake out of the opening. The preparation is so high level.
Yeah, that's like ridiculous. All right, well, shall we take a look at some of these Tuesday night marathon games, Nick?
Yes. Let's see some real action.
All right. Well, I'm reading the news here, Nick, first. You know, I'm like Walter Cronkite or whatever. First of all, this is the 5th round of the Tuesday night marathon, the November-December 2021. Tied for first place in the 1800 plus section are Elliot Winslow and Adam Stafford with 3.5 out of 4, and they are playing right now, and this is their game. Let's go. Shall we go?
Adam Stafford.
Let's go back to Adam Stafford is a kid that with a 1745 rating that's really playing quite well lately. Let's check it out.
Oh, just a last note. Mike Wilder in the chat quotes Nakamura has an interesting suggestion. Instead of playing the match first, play the tiebreaker first. and then the loser, has to take more chances.
What do you think of that idea?
Well, somebody will have lost and somebody will have won tiebreaker, so that would definitely, give the match a different flavor.
But it's not a tiebreaker if there's not a tie.
Yeah, I don't think it's practical, but it's an interesting.
Yeah,
idea.
and plus the chess generally, I mean, so many times, somebody's playing for a win because they have to, and they just take too many chances, and then they just have a bad game, and then their opponent offers a draw, or whatever. And I mean, there have been even world championship matches that ended that way,
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, let's see some real chess.
Yeah, okay, so Stafford is white and Winslow is black on board one. It's a Catalan. Is it a... What is this with bishop f5?
Yeah, sort of a Slav.
A Slatolin?
Yeah, so,
A Slavatalin? And Mike says, really? Bishop f5? Is that such a bad move? What is queen p3 the refutation? Which it usually is in these positions, right?
yeah, but...
Okay, so wait a minute. This is not Elliot, according to Mike Walder. Do we have some boards switched around?
It doesn't look like Elliot's...
It doesn't, does it? And it's not according to the DGT boards in the chess room. So I'm going to have a word. We might have an issue with the DGT boards.
Which one?
Is this Elliot's game, or is it Elliot's game in Nahdorf?
No, that's...
This, because
yeah.
it says Adam Stafford, Elliot Winslow, but when I look over here,
That's the correct game.
it's this
This
game.
is the correct game.
So, but we have an issue then with the DGT boards, because I'm commenting on.
Oh, I see. And it didn't... Should have corrected
It says
here.
Adam Stafford.
Let me refresh that.
Okay, we're gonna refresh everything and get refreshed
We're gonna
here.
refresh ourselves. Let's see.
Joined here by Club Director Abel Talamentes. Maybe just hit the refresh on the browser.
Yeah, I did.
No, this is the Elliot Winslow
That's it
game.
right there.
But the other game said Elliot Winslow.
Yeah, I corrected it.
Oh, okay.
But it was there.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Oh, but I want to be back
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to
here.
make sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. I think we got everything right here. Let's take a look at this. It says board 2, but really these guys are on board 1. These guys.
It's 1 and 2 got switched.
Okay. All right. So this is board 1. Let's go back to the beginning and see how this thing happened, Nick. Sorry, everybody, for the interruption. Stafford Winslow is a Nahdorf.
Okay, this is some real manly chess, fighting chess. No wimpy Petrov. Six. Now that is a bit unusual.
I wouldn't know what to do after bishop f6. All I've seen is white take with the knight.
On h6, you don't usually play h6 against g4.
Right, that's
you play
true
h6
too.
against bishop g3. So Winslow is playing something a bit unusual, just trying to avoid his opponent's preparation. But, you know, this, supposedly white's a bit better.
I wouldn't know what to do here.
But you charge on the king side as happened, created pawn to h4, and
Knight b6. Did Chiron play like this with white or black?
well, Karen would play like that with black, I think.
Right.
And
And
Mike is saying knight b6 is the right move for black,
so is Elliot improvising here?
so that you can take on d4 and play pawn d5 with the d5 square cover. So Elliot is improvising, and okay, white has more space.
Why move the queen again just to attack the knight? Well, I guess.
The knight, okay, probably has to go away. But yes, this looks a bit ad hoc there.
Ad hoc, an ad hoc chess move.
I mean, he's winging it, which of course those world championship guys don't do.
Yeah, why don't they play like Carlsen and Nepomniachtchi? You know, what's wrong with these guys?
Oh no, this is more fun for us.
Okay. Knight c5, g5. The bishop just goes back.
Yes.
It looked like there might have been the possibility of taking on g5, taking on h1, and taking on c3. What was wrong with that? Maybe he just takes back and then you have to...
Yeah, then you don't have anything developed. Except...
Okay. Is development overrated? No.
Totally overrated.
Bishop c4 seems a little odd. I mean,
Yeah, another that's definitely a strange one.
But let's see what he plays, and then he goes for it. Bishop d7. Winslow develops in g6 to break things open. So
I like the look of that.
yes, it's just nice open game, action happening. This game's not going to be a draw.
All right. Yeah, not like those wimpy... Okay, so Elliot's in the think tank, and probably he's going to castle queenside.
Okay, so this was Stafford's idea. The queen attacks the g6 pawn, but also ready to go knight takes c5.
Right.
So things
Could be tough for Elliot.
yeah, he cannot, you know, king f7 is suicidal, you know, on the f5 or something. Or knight takes c5 first, but yeah, he probably has to castle queen.
You know, Michael, you're supposed to make suggestions for your roommate and not for his opponent. You're supposed to like your roommate's game. Yeah, knight b6.
Well, okay, say you castle queen's side, when knight takes c5, pawn takes c5. I guess rook takes d7 doesn't quite work. With the bishop on d7, the black king could take.
But then rook d1 check? I guess you could go back.
And then rook d1 check, the king could go to c7. You're still up the exchange.
Yeah. So what if white just plays... Yeah, so maybe that's playable. What about queen g6, though? Knight c5, dc5, queen g6.
Now that's a good move. That's a good move. And bishop f6 doesn't work because of pawn to e5.
Yeah, there's this positional bind.
So castle along, knight takes c5, queen takes c5, bishop e6 looks very nice for white. So what does black play here? Tough position. Knight b3 check doesn't help. Still the weaknesses on e6 and
Good move by Mr. Stafford.
okay, his plan, putting the bishop on c4, it's all works together. There's two weaknesses, e6, e6, and we need a move. So a higher rated player is in trouble, and that's how we like it.
So what about knight b3 check?
Bishop can take.
And then
e6 is hanging with check.
I guess if you castle bishop e6, you're just positionally busted. Unless you could somehow get your queen to e3 and take on f4, but I don't see how. Elliot's in trouble, it looks like. A little bit too much monkeying around here. A little too much monkeying around with the queen moves, queen to
Yes,
b6
yes.
and the double knight move.
Yes, so we see why Carlson doesn't just wing it in the openings.
All right, let's move to board 2. Actually, it says board 1, but it's board 2. And this is a little bit more staid opening. This is Daniel Wang versus Kristoff Bamboo. And these players have 3 points and are tied for second place, along with Kevin Reese. This is the Catalan thing.
So there's only one player in first place? I thought there was a
No,
tie.
Stafford and Winslow are tied.
Oh, okay. Now, this knight d2 makes a lot of sense. Starting c4 and readying pawn to e4.
Yeah, it's an interesting move. Boom.
And pawn e4
It's
does
a kind of
happen.
an Alekine plan or something. Whenever I see these knights in the center, I think of Alekine for some reason. But now the knights are gone.
Oh, yes.
F4 is weird. Actually, this position is maybe just not much going on here for white.
F4 is a losing move. It doesn't
Yeah.
have enough positives.
Black's idea is to play against d4, and this with c5 or doubling up, I think, on the d file.
Pawn to f4, I'd say black is better. It's
Oh, White's got a radical idea in mind here, Nick.
he's definitely going for it, but
You're not convinced. I'm not convinced.
bishop can hide on h7, nice secure spot, and that black king side's very safe. Still, I'm enjoying this. Players go for it. Each move has this action with it.
Yeah. It's not wimpy chess like the World Championship match. All right, let's see what's going on here on board 3, where the other player with 3 points, Caven Reese, is playing the highest rated player with 2.5, expert Nathan Fong, who we're all familiar with.
Nathan Fong, all right.
Now look at this, knight g7, going his own way in the opening.
And G4 looks like a good response.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, action chess.
Yeah, this is totally action chess here. I like the way White's been playing this though.
Yes.
He looks like he could have played f4 here. But bishop e2, g6. Again, he could have played f4, but he's emphasizing development, and I like that too.
Yeah, I did like your f4 though.
And black fianchettos his knight.
Well,
And yeah, and we've got the camera view right above us. We're seeing half of the oldest chess club in the United States, 4th floor, downtown San Francisco. You're looking at it with our cam. In the far away are the top boards. Everyone's wearing a mask, or they should be. I'm in the office, so I don't have to wear a mask.
is Ru Yan Yang playing tonight?
No, she's not in the tournament.
Oh, I think she was in the Gobbler.
No, she didn't play in that either, actually. Elliot won that. Who did Elliot tie with in the Gobbler?
Austin Mai.
Austin Mai,
2200.
2200 player.
Like 15 years old.
She's playing in Berkeley, Nick.
Aha, okay.
Their Friday tournament. So we have the camera view. I gave the lecture and showed the second Carlsen Nepomniachtchi game. That was a nice game.
The second game was a lot of action.
Yeah, it was a nice game. Very, very, very good game, I thought.
Yes.
But in the first game, Nick, there were the fianchetto knights. Like this. And now Michael's saying knight d5 is crushing here. He might be right here.
Yeah,
It certainly looks good for white. In any case, f4 looks good. And he plays knight d5 here. This is really... Black's in trouble, obviously.
Yeah, knight d5, and gotta be careful. Oh,
I think black is busted, almost.
so he's threatening knight takes c6 and bishop to b6. Yeah, but does knight e6 defend?
Well, you take...
So you take on e6 and then still bishop e6.
And I guess you give up your queen for 2 pieces. What else are you going to do? That's what I would do. I wouldn't even think about it. I'd just give up my queen for 2 pieces and hope for the best.
Okay. Well, it may be 2 pieces, but white gets the pawn
And a crushing position?
yeah.
Well, it's just details, Nick, you know.
Okay, so here we're seeing how can black survive and looking at queen sacrifice things. So black is struggling and has to get creative.
All right. In the real world, how should black play?
I think that was the real world. And what can you do? Rook to b8. It's stops, knight takes c6.
You guys are so realistic. You both say rook b8 at the same time. Here I'm trying to give away all my pieces, and you guys are just trying to hold tight and play the right move and do the right thing. What am I supposed to do against that kind of thinking? Yeah?
You have to rage against it.
I have to rage against it.
Yeah, it's a miserable position for black. So I'm going to enjoy just seeing him try to be creative, how to get out of it. And maybe we'll see your queen sacrifice. Maybe we'll see those versions with rook b8 and things. But let's take a look at what else is going on.
All right, here's Askin versus Guy Argo.
Another Guy Argo game. Always plays action check.
Yeah, we have Richard Hack and Guy Argo that play the Dutch defense.
Yeah. The Dutch is nice and in balance.
Is knight c6 the move here? I thought queen g6 was the move.
Knight c6 is a bit unusual there. Yeah. Can you hit it with pawn to d5 and kind of break up the...
That's what he did.
Yeah, that's...
And now take on e6, right? Does that look right?
Yeah, so that the pawn structure is broken up.
The knight could have gone to d4 as well. I'm just pointing that out. But this looks even better.
This looks... you're actually threatening the pawn on b7 also.
Oh, but now c5 check. Well, I guess, maybe, well, I don't know. Is this deliberate? Black...
There's c5 checks, but that's not the end of the world.
That's right, it's not. King h8.
You get a position that looks so good, and you think it's got to be something, but when all the squares are covered, and we're looking for a way for white to get in.
I mean, but the moves on both sides look very logical so far.
Bishop back to c8, that's...
Principled.
Oh, yeah. Just want to go king to h8.
So white can play a3 or c5 or a combination of both, or knight b5, a combination. But nothing seems to stick.
No. Knight to b5, that's kind of interesting. Knight could go back to a6. Yeah, somehow black's able to cover the squares.
Guy Argo's he plays with an original mind.
Yes, he gets unusual positions.
Okay, so let's move on and see Christian Clemens versus Nicholas Wang. This is a heavyweight mechanics matchup here. Two of our star players.
And Christian likes this English.
Two experts that both need to make the leap. This all looks very normal to me. What about queen b3?
Yes, knight could go back to c7. That's the way Karpov would play that position. And he
The white queen is starting to look a little funny at b3, if you ask me.
Yeah, but okay. Often that queen has to move.
I like the way Nicholas has played this. He's showing a lot of understanding of this position, I think. a6. So the white queen can sneak out to h4. Maybe black should block the way with knight d4 or something. Look at that move, Nick. Queen d7.
Oh, and he wants to play queen pawn to b6 to just.
Yeah.
That's good. Not a bad move.
No. Interesting move. Looks like black had a lot of moves there, but this is an interesting idea.
Yeah, the knights on c6 and e6 are very good. Just knocking down that d4 square.
All right, finally, this is board 1 of the under 1800 section, where Mr. Nicholas Parsons and Stephen Parsons, rather, and Adam Mercado and Dean Guo and Sammy Agdamag are all tied for first with 3.5 out of 4.
Wow.
This is a breakout tournament for Sammy, I hope.
Yes.
He's a good player that has a deep understanding of chess, but has a tendency to self-destruct, I think, in his games. And it looks like he's not doing that this tournament. And he's got 3.5 out of 4, and he's tied for the lead. But this game is board 1 between Mercado and Parsons. And we know Adam Mercado is a wild man.
Yes.
Okay, white's given up his opening advantage, I think, with this queen. Even though this is relatively common, I think black should be happy with this.
Yes, taking with the queen just gave up a tempo, so
Yeah.
black is simply happy here. Bishop b4, and now, go bishop g. Bishop g5 is asking for it.
Yeah, I mean, black could play queen a5 or even h6 here, forces bishop f6.
Yes, and I think that's sort of what happened. He took first, which is okay. It doesn't hurt to
Yeah.
cover those pawns. And now black is better, yes.
All right, but you still have to play it. So what, blockade with b6 and get the bishop out?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
g8 maybe.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Some advantage black, nothing huge, but definitely advantage.
All right, let's jump back up to board. Board 1. Okay, let's just take this through. Elliot castled, and white did take on c5 and did take on d7.
Knight takes c5, pawn takes c5. Now we said just
Queen
instead of that,
g6.
take the pawn on g6, and you've got a positional advantage.
Instead, he got flashy.
Flashy rook to d7, but we considered that, and we thought king takes d7 would be good for the.
Yeah, but then maybe bishop e6 check right away.
and queen takes e6.
Rook d1.
Bishop to e6. We're threatening to trade queen.
Michael says just knight d5 after king d7.
Knight d5 after king d7. Now, that attacks the queen, certainly. But
Queen d6, e5. Ugh.
well, yeah, not queen d6. But
Queen c6?
queen c6 and rook d1.
Oops. Yikes. Oh, man. We're seeing a new talent rise up here in the mechanics with this Adam Stafford guy.
Yeah, rook d7, bishop e6 is just huge. That you win the exchange back. The d5 square is weak. So king d7 has to be the move. And we're going knight d5. Where can we go to? How about queen to a5?
And let's say I take on e7.
Oh, do you don't want to go rook d1 first?
Well, I thought I would just take on e7. Right?
Then king takes e7.
Queen e6 check.
Oh, excuse me. That's crushing, yes. Wow, so knight d5, queen c6 would be forced, but then rook d1, looking for a discovered check.
Yikes.
Bishop d6, pawn to e5. What can we do? Can't move that bishop because of the discovered check.
h5. I think it's just...
Well, this is going to be a game of the round.
This is a bone-crushing move.
d7, bishop e6.
You know, Ellie and I were teaching a class, and I think of kids before the round, and I think it might have just rattled his bones too much. Yikes.
Yes, the rook d7, there was bishop e6, rook d8, knight d5. Got the bishop on e7. On queen to e6 on the e5 would have driven the queen away. So the only hope, but knight d5, what move can we play? Knight d5.
I think that's... Let's come back here.
Queen c6, rook to d1. Threatening knight b4 check.
King e8.
King 8 would be queen g6 check, king to
f8.
King to f8, knight takes e7, and
King, oh, yeah.
knight takes e7.
Rook takes d1.
You can throw rook d1 check in.
Yeah.
And king takes d1, and maybe we don't take the knight on e7.
No, because of queen g7. Can you
Can't
play?
take the pawn on e4. You can go queen to D6 check, and queen takes F4, but it's looking absolutely desperate. Oh no, queen to D6 check and queen takes. Right. So, okay, we have a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knight D5, queen C6, rook D1, the terrible looking king to E8.
Well, it's, process of elimination.
It's desperation drives you to try these things, and I wish the World Championship participants would be in a desperate situation.
So queen G6, king F8. And if knight E7, then what happens?
Then rook D1 check, king takes D1, queen D6 check. Pick up the knight on E7.
Yeah, look at that.
So,
Oh, no, because the knight can play back to D5.
but the pawn can then take.
But then I've got a queen on G6. I'll take your queen on D6.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. So you're doing queen. We're doing king, rook, that line.
Queen, knight D5, queen C6, rook D1, king E8.
King E8, queen G6, king to F8. Knight takes E7. Black plays rook takes D1 check, king takes D1, queen. Do we go queen D7 check? Maybe that's better.
Oh, yeah. Winslow.
Okay, now Mike wants to do.
Nathan?
He's
Talk
got
about his game?
some line.
Okay.
All right.
Hold on, we have a finished game here. I guess I have to put my mask on.
Hey y'all, how's it going? Is it okay if I use this chair?
Yeah. Whichever one. Yeah, that's it.
Hey Paul.
Hey,
I'm
man.
Nathan.
Nathan, what's going on? Here,
Nice to meet
scoot
you.
over. We have Nathan Fong here, Nick.
Oh, good. That was an exciting game. Let's go through that.
Yeah, happy to go through it. I guess we'll start from the beginning. I took a look at his profile.
Don't talk too loud. Hold on. You can, I'm just, we don't want to be heard in the next room,
Thank you.
is the only issue.
Sure, yeah. So I took a look at his profile and I saw he plays a lot of the Dutch. And I'm normally a d4 player. I don't like facing the Dutch. But I saw he had this one specific line where after knight f3 he'll play c5. I realized I can maybe transpose into a Sicilian where he's likely less comfortable as a Dutch player.
Right.
And this knight b to d7 move, it's the move that he plays exclusively on chess.com, which surprised me because I know it's not one of the main lines. So at home I was taking a look at the engine. One of the best moves that I saw was g4 here.
G4. Nick liked your play. In fact, both of us did, actually.
Thank you.
Nice and aggressive.
Yeah. And so rook g1, and the whole point is just to play g5 as quickly as possible, which
Yeah.
I was able to achieve. And here, if you go back before knight h5, so just a couple moves back, here I had prepared knight to d7, so knight f d7.
Wow, this is like world championship stuff. You're already on the 10th move and you're playing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess the line I'll share is knight f to d7.
Oh, if not, well, all we can do is talk about it. 'Cause,
Okay.
yeah, that's fine. We don't have the engine.
All good, all good. Yeah, so
Knight
knight h5 was a surprise, but it's knight f d7, and then f4. I'm
Uh-huh.
taking the knight back to c6, and then I have g6.
Oh,
attacking
yeah.
the 7 pawn.
With
Knight
knight
takes-
e6 coming in.
Yeah, so knight takes d4 is kind of forced. I have the g takes f7 intermezzo.
Right.
King takes f7. I recapture the knight on d4.
Was a great game.
Yeah, and white is at least slightly better there.
Yeah, sure.
So knight h5 came as a surprise, and I realized right away that the knight's just kind of trapped. I can just win the pawn if I want, which is why I started with bishop e2. And then I realized that I don't really want this pawn. Like, I could play rook h1, but
Right.
why would I cash out my advantage now? Might as well wait.
I like the developing moves, and then this is just, oh no, that can't be right.
Yeah, and knight to g7 I just felt was too slow.
Yeah.
And if he gets...
Knight g7
That's
he's
the losing
been
move.
provocative, but knight g7's really asking for it.
Yeah, and I recognize that I never have to actually take on e6, and so I allow all of this.
This is crushing.
Yeah. So just kind of unfortunate opening. I don't think
He
ever
played
got
my
started.
line. He played the queen sack.
Yeah.
We thought you were going to take on e6 and play bishop b6.
So that's what I thought was going to be strong here, but
You decided.
I decided to be very practical. I think there's a line knight takes e6, f takes e6,
Right.
and then
Bishop b6.
Oh, excuse me, not f takes, bishop takes e6.
Oh.
So knight takes e6, bishop takes e6, bishop to b6.
And he can move the queen and give up the exchange.
Exactly, and again, I've cashed out ahead of time. When
Okay.
I don't really need to.
Knight b3.
And even
Restrained.
even if I don't have all of these resources, I at least have f5, and I'm making progress there.
Right.
So here I was
It's a
expecting.
very difficult thing to do. Is to hold back and not play the strong moves,
Sure, thank you.
but wait for this even stronger move.
Yeah. And so here b5, maybe I get a little bit lucky, because I think there's a moment here after b5 or b5 bishop b6 queen d7. I think I got lucky here because I think there's rook b8. I don't know.
Oh, we were looking at him playing rook b8 in a different situation.
Sure. Yeah, I missed this idea. For some reason, I thought that knight c7 was completely crushing, would win the game every time. But if the rook's not at a8, it's not that good. So in this position here, I think just rook b8.
Well, then you take on e6.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
f takes
he
e6,
takes back
and both pieces are hanging.
But then you play knight c7 check.
Yeah, knight c7, king f7, and still both pieces are hanging.
Oh, I see. The king has f7.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Nick?
Rook b8, what a great move! Yes.
So-
That's,
I was
Can
calculating.
you take on e6 and then play bishop g4?
I probably can, yeah. And I think bishop g4. The e4 pawn might be a little bit loose. I'm not really sure.
Well, wait a minute now. You rook b8,
Yep.
take on e6,
Yeah, f takes e6.
and then bishop g4.
Bishop g4 first. Okay, I mean maybe
Does black's paralyzed there?
that's true. Probably still has to sack
And you're
the
threatening
exchange.
bishop takes e6.
You know what? I think there's knight takes b6. Or sorry, rook takes b6, knight takes b6, and queen a7. And the the knight's pinned to the rook.
And you can't play knight takes c8 because the queen takes g1.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Um,
Nice.
This is an idea I was aware of because in my preparation there were a lot of these tactics on this diagonal, so I had to be careful. But
So black might still hold on with rook b8.
I think my plan
Amazing.
was rook b8, f takes e6, f takes e6, and then bishop back to d4. So I hit the rook in the corner, and then I've saved one of the pieces, and then
Right.
I have a tempo. I hopefully have a tempo to save the other piece.
It looks right.
So it would have been tricky for him either way. But yeah, knight takes g5 is him just saying, okay, I don't have anything.
that's yes. Too bad.
Yeah. Nice game.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
An easy win. Do you think you're going to win this tournament?
No.
Are you sure?
So I had to take 2 buys just for traveling, and then I
Oh, no.
drew my round 2 games. So I was at 2.5 out of 4. Now I'm at.
Well, you beat one of the players above you, so you're climbing up the ladder.
I
he
would
had-
certainly hope so.
He had 3 points, right?
I think I had 2.5.
Yeah,
I had 2 buys.
But
and
he had
and a-
3. You
Oh,
knocked,
my opponent. Yeah.
yeah. So you knocked out one of. I mean, look, and there's still 3 rounds to go.
That's true. There's plenty of time.
So yeah,
I'm really
so there's
interested to
plenty
see
of
this
time.
top board game though, because Adam has a really interesting position against Elliot.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome to hang out here for a bit.
Yeah, I'll stay for a few more minutes.
Let's see.
Because this is okay. So this is kind of what I thought would happen. I didn't think Elliot had anything better than to give up the g6 pawn.
We were looking. Okay, so Nick and I were looking now at.
Oh,
He played queen takes g6.
didn't go knight to d5.
We were looking at knight d5, but we liked queen g6 initially. Knight d5 almost won by force, but we found some miracle
Oh.
play moves by black.
Would you mind going back a couple moves? I didn't see the exchange sacrifice. Okay, so knight c5. So rook takes d7. Whoa, what an idea.
Just queen g6 is good.
Okay,
though.
that makes sense
Yeah.
too.
We're in fact we're a little. If rook d7 isn't just 100% great,
Yeah.
then I think we would go back to queen takes g6, right, Nick?
Yes, it's a wonderful position.
Yeah,
for,
it's just like positionally.
And this is like the thing about Adam's style, I'm sure you've seen over many tournaments, but he likes to go for the aggressive line, the forcing lines, and if he misses something, he'll just kind of go back and check it later, but
Still, rook d. So he sacks exchange and then plays queen g6.
yeah.
That looks good too.
I think so too. I mean, this has to be crushing, and the time situation doesn't help.
Well, the thing is that, you know, you're going to lose the pawn on e6 probably, so yeah, it doesn't look good. Maybe black just has to play something like rook e8. What do you think? He's in trouble.
Yes, you need something.
How about bishop f8?
Ooh, that's so passive. It's got to be bad.
Yeah, that's true. King c8 to try to get or king c7.
I think Elliot's going to play king c8. I think Elliot knows that if he takes this to an endgame, he has good chances to hold this for a draw or potentially win, and king c8 just kind of says,
He's got to get his king safe, but he's going to lose a pawn or two. And
okay,
so
king c7, something similar.
What happens on that king c8, bishop takes e6, check, king to b8, knight to d5?
yeah, well, I think you're right. And so he plays king c7 first, and so now he's got a breathing space after bishop e6.
Sure.
Of at least one move, and we could possibly get a bishops of opposite colors thing if knight d5, rook takes d5.
But I feel like even bishops of opposite colors should favor whites.
Well, of course, there'll be a couple of pawns up,
Yeah, and...
or at least one pawn.
But you're right, that does seem pretty practical.
Why not queen takes g7 now?
Yeah, well, stop asking those difficult questions, Nick.
No, we have to find something.
All right, rook h e8.
Queen g7, rook h e8, and if we take the pawn on h6,
Then you're just killing us.
it's
Well, there's an interesting
maybe you
idea.
have bishop f8. You have bishop f8 too.
I'm looking at queen takes g7, queen d6. And the point is that the queen on d6 hits the f4 square.
Pawn e5.
Yeah, so after e5, you have queen d2 check. And okay, so bishop takes e6, very direct.
King b8 now, for sure.
King b8.
Well, how about bishop f6?
You could start with bishop f6, e5, takes the bishop.
E5, you take the bishop on e6.
Yeah.
If knight d5, you take it and take on b2.
There you go. There you go.
Bishop f6 suddenly.
How about queen f7 check and then e5?
Okay, we have to go rook f8, hitting the queen.
Yeah.
And then knight d5.
Yeah, bishop e6 looks inaccurate. I agree. Played quickly again. Again, this is a problem to make these, you know.
There's bishop f6.
Now knight d5 is met by rook d5 and taking on b2 when clearly black is fine.
But this line is critical. Queen f7 check, king to
b8.
b8, pawn to e5, rook to h to f8, hitting the queen, knight to d5, hitting the queen. Is there a square for that? Or maybe you just go queen c6 and you're still on the bishop on e6.
And you're on the queen.
Okay, so that, oh, and you're somehow x-raying the rook on h1.
Gosh, that's true.
So suddenly, after a miserable position, Wiley Winslow is slipping out.
Bishop e6 was really misguided, superficial.
I'm thinking, knowing Adam's style, he's going to play knight d5 check anyway. I think he's going to allow these exchanges.
Black is equal, if not better, after rook d5.
Yeah, so rook d5, e takes d5, queen takes b2, and I think Adam's just going to go for it and say, hey, I have like an active
I think
position.
yeah, this was definitely... It's hard to understand because White had played such a good game. It's just these inaccurate attacking moves.
Yeah, knight d5 is probably the best move here.
Well, he plays
Yeah.
queen b7, so king b8 and then e5, but then rook f8, and we have the same situation here. It's amusing to me how fast White's playing.
This is very much an Adam style, yeah.
It's not...
I think Black is just feeling very good that that king made that journey to b8.
Yeah. Black has every reason to be happy with the way this turned out. White's like he's defeating himself, trying
Yeah.
to defeat himself in a sense.
And even just a few moves ago, there was an opportunity to not let the king escape, and it would have been a different game.
He had lots of subtle moves instead of this bludgeoning bishop takes e6.
Crazy.
Wow.
It's hard to beat
Oh,
an
amazing.
international master, yeah.
You know, now with the queen on f7, knight d5 is going to lose the rook on h1. Well, hold it. Knight d5, rook takes d5, maybe bishop takes d5.
Yeah, and you can give up the rook.
But you can play queen takes b2 check without playing rook takes d5.
Now that it's not check.
Yeah, that's another.
That's
White
true.
also ruined his ability to play knight d5 with check by playing
Yeah.
queen f7.
That's a good point.
Queen f7 was bad for several reasons.
Yeah, and I'm sure he knows that now, but it's too late. Yeah, I don't see anything else here.
e5 rook f8 is just powerful.
Yeah, and I was looking for some opportunity to, I don't know, give up material like e5, rook f8, knight a4 maybe, just so the queen doesn't hit the bishop, and then at least you have some material.
Queen
balance.
c6 hits the knight, the rook at h1.
That's
and,
everything's falling.
and the queen is hanging.
Oh man, that's tough.
Ah, that's such a shame.
Yeah,
Such a
White played
wonderful
great game until
by
this.
Adam.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he'll learn from it, or I hope he'll learn from it.
Yeah, Elliot was saying that he's getting bad openings and then just outplaying people. That's been the trend lately.
This happened 2 weeks ago, I recall. An opponent sacked a piece, had a really nice position. Elliot just kind of wheeled his way out of it.
Dodged a bullet. Yeah.
But Nathan, you're not going to let Elliot weasel out of it, are you?
No.
If I have the opportunity, no. I actually did some preparation for him in anticipation of playing him earlier. I think it was round 3. It didn't end up happening, but yeah, I have a pretty good idea.
You're going to play the rest of the rounds?
I'm taking a bye in the last one, so I've got 2 more.
Okay, well, if you win both those games and you're getting a half-point bye, if you get 2.5 out of 3, I think you got a good shot at this tournament.
Sure, I'd definitely be
You
thrilled.
you could easily tie for first.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So
You might get your crack at Elliot next round even.
I certainly hope so. The thing about playing Elliot, and I mean a lot of the players at this club, is I feel like my only edge is going to be in opening preparation, where I can do my homework before the game. I don't have to come up with anything on my own.
The thing about a player like Elliot is you have to you can get a good opening against him, but you have to be able to play against him afterwards.
Yeah.
This is where Elliot's winning his games. He's getting outplayed in the opening, but then he's using his experience and his technique to outplay his opponents after that.
For sure.
So I think that for the club players to get beyond the Elliott barrier, you have to get it's not just the opening preparation, as we can see in this game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Stafford completely outplayed Elliott in the opening, got a practically winning position, and has kind of blown it.
Yeah. I know what that's like to blow a position. I was playing against Ezra in the last Tuesday night marathon, had a really nice position up a pawn all the play in the game, completely overpressed, went for too much, ended up losing in a time scramble. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, we learn a lot from those games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's, yeah. The fighting spirit of these players too. All right. Well, let's take a look at board 2.
Oh, so White?
White went ahead with this reckless kingside stuff.
Yeah.
At least he was going for it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some action here. That's
And I think White's significantly lower rated too, so
Right.
makes sense that you would want something to happen quickly.
Combining hyperactive play on one side of the board with slow moves on the other side of the board.
Exactly.
Usually, if I was playing like that, I would start to say to myself that I'm not concentrating enough.
Sure.
You know, and that something is wrong with my play. But who is it for me to say, you know? But it does look like White can't really go any further on the king side, and whether this turns out to be. But like you said, Nick, this is a good way to play chess. You know, just
they have to think of us spectators.
that's right. All right, let's roll here for a second here and go down. Nice game. We already know what happened there. Kevin Nathan Fong takes down Kevin Reese. And here is White thought for a long time and plays rook d1. He's trying to give force to pawn to c5 check, I guess. I'm trying to find a reason for people's moves. It's not always possible. But
I mean, what was the threat with c5 check last move?
he could play king h8. There was nothing convincing going on there.
I feel like positionally White doesn't want to push c4 just to give up the d5 square like that. So maybe he's just saying, I'll just control the d5 square and then wait. But
Yeah, but there's something. Black has played a clever game here, right, Nick?
It holds together. You know, it looks odd, but all of Black's position holds together.
All right, so c5, king h8, knight e6 is one idea.
Well, which is actually a pawn sacrifice. Bishop e6,
Right.
king e6, pawn takes c5. Oh no, f5 is hanging.
And so is b7.
Yeah, that knight e6 looks like it would have at least loosened the light squares.
So rook d1 doesn't seem to really fit in with anything.
yeah,
And so it looks like it could almost be a wasted move.
possibly, yeah.
So, but he took a long time over it. Sometimes players don't know what to do and they make. But maybe c5 and knight e6 was the better way to go. All right, let's leave these questions unanswered and go to Clemens. This is a complex game.
So Nicholas finally got a pawn break in the center, or something in the center. He's just kind of moving pieces around.
We've actually liked Black's play.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And if Black
This
can
is
get
a
e5
nice looking game here.
If White can just get some lever to bust something open.
Watch out for Nicholas. Give him a year or something. He's a player with a lot of potential.
Mhm.
He could be tearing this tournament up one day. remember? Do you remember Hans Niemann?
Of course, yeah.
Were you here playing here?
I
when
was
he
not at the
when he
time.
was playing.
But
Gosh, that was just incredible to see him come in here and just like a. First, he didn't do so well, but then he finally won the last TNM he played in with a perfect 9-0 score or something like that.
that's incredible.
So yeah.
Bishop G2. Whoa.
All right. I like Black's dynamic potential here, Nick.
Yes. It just goes slowly. You can control those central squares and keep white from breaking out. Then you're just better.
I'm looking at some cheapo to try to win something, but I can't see anything. Yeah, Black's kind of pushing white back a little bit here.
Yeah, Christian's playing kind of without a firm plan.
Yeah, he has trouble in the middle game. I've noticed that. That's his weakness, is his middle game. Christian, I'm sorry to say that, but here I am. I've seen a lot of your chess games, and it seems to me that the middle game is a place where you flounder a little bit.
This is interesting. I can't help but notice the resemblance to the Meraxi bind if Black can just play e5.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at whether or not Black can just play knight e to d8 and then play e5 and then put the knight back on e6.
Well, I kind of want, yeah, that's true. Also a6 and b5.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good ideas.
There's a lot of Black's playing with a lot of ideas here, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I'm looking that Christian may have this idea knight to g5. Depends what Black plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true because the knight at c6 is hanging. So bishop to b7.
Bishop b7, yeah, that looks very sensible.
All right, a complex game. Only one pawn has been traded. Shall we take a look at Adam Mercado's game?
Oh yeah, Adam's always good for a lot of
The
action.
wild man of the chess club. Yeah, I like that idea of going to the better endgame too. Or a decent endgame. All right. Well, this game, White could play c5 and sometimes in these positions and get a bind. So Black's better positionally, but still has to be careful and get his pieces out, right, Nick?
Yeah, you can try to repair your structure with white, like pawn to c5, queen to d4 plans.
Black's move, though.
Yes. So it's just a little hard developing that bishop on c8 and controlling the dark square.
Yeah.
All right, a tough game on board one of the under 1800 set. Let's go back to board one of the...
Whoa, I did not see this coming. So queen f7, king b8.
Oh, we missed a little
D5,
shot here. Knight d5.
Well, we had considered it and said you could go queen to c6.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You did point that out. And White should resign after queen c6.
Oh, can't we do any better? Queen c6 and
Queen f8. I'm trying to find a move.
either. Maybe he'll just play queen c6, queen c7, and you trade, and then you pick up the bishop and just go to the endgame down in exchange.
How do you do that?
So let's say queen c6, queen c7 check, queen takes
takes
c7, knight takes c7.
I see. That's
king takes c7.
yeah, but that's just got to be losing, I guess.
I mean, everything's
King
losing.
c7, ef6, rook f6, f5.
And pawn to g6.
Yeah.
Yeah, clear exchange down. That's the best you can do.
Wow.
What a game.
What a.
There it is.
Adam had really played great. That was
There are too many forcing moves that didn't ultimately lead to anything other than.
Yeah. So Adam and I actually share the same coach.
Okay.
And so we've been working on some of the same things. One of them, for me, at first was focusing on moves that don't always make a threat. It's like a pretty elementary idea, but I've noticed that in a lot of my openings, I've just been attacking things, overextending a lot. And so my coach switched my openings. He gave me things to practice, and I would anticipate the same is going to happen here.
This was great opening preparation by White.
Yeah, I think so too.
No doubt about it. But he just went overboard when he didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if the sacrifice rook d7 was good, it was worth close attention to pay to queen takes g6 instead, just
sure.
taking the powerful positional approach. You can't always blow people off the board, with sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always work.
Yeah.
although here it looks like it should have worked if Adam had followed it up.
Yeah, that's right. And
Yeah,
then
that's
and then if you're going to play like that, you've got to be super accurate.
Exactly.
And he fell short in that department.
Yeah.
And black, of course, yeah. And after queen c7, knight c7, I mean, black could play bishop takes e5 first.
Yeah, you can.
And I guess white plays knight a6, but then, I mean, yeah, maybe it'd be...
It's all the same.
It's all kind of the same thing, yeah. This is a missed opportunity for white, for sure. Elliot. So Elliot's thinking, what, bishop e5 or knight 8 or king c7? I guess, what do you think is right, Nick? King c7.
Well, I think he'll quickly take on c7.
Yeah, king c7. Yes.
It's just a technical position.
Yeah.
There's also bishop takes h4, which gives black the outside h-pawn. But okay.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I watch Winslow week after week. Practical, practical decision. Move after move after move.
Yeah.
That's really what he's all about, is the practical move. This is resignable.
Yep.
G6 wins another pawn. Wins a pawn,
Yeah.
I guess, and that's pretty much it.
Wow. I mean, a great comeback by Elliot. Really resourceful to find this king maneuver, but I don't think he was challenged too much.
Yeah, missed opportunities for Adam. Wow. Played a great game. It looked like it was going to be a KO.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really did.
Wild.
All right.
Yeah, he just, I guess, Nathan, he becomes impatient. He has lots of time on the clock. He didn't have to throw those checks in so quickly.
Yeah, exactly. That's something
Maybe
I've
he
been...
got a bit nervous with such a good position.
Mm-hmm.
Just learning how to sit there and if you feel yourself getting excited to take that time to control your emotions and
Exactly.
and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing he resigned here. I'm gonna go talk to him, see how he's feeling.
Do you think he
Oh,
resigned?
Rook F1. He's
no,
still
he's
playing.
still playing.
Although it won't last much longer. But
Black can just take on F5.
there it
It's
is.
another. I can almost predict Winslow's moves
Of
sometimes because they're not fancy.
Yeah.
You know, he's got that Buddhist approach to chess. You know.
There's another game I was really interested in.
Yeah,
Would you mind if we switch to the David Askin Guy
Yeah,
Argo game?
let's do that.
Yeah, round 4 or number 4, I believe. Yeah. Okay, so we saw Rook D1, and we weren't sure what.
This is typical. This is typical Guy Argo.
Yeah,
He's another
Dutch.
caveman on the mechanics. So, H6, Knight H3,
And G5.
G5.
So I had the opportunity.
David, by the way, is accurate in the finish. So don't give him a forced sequence that's gonna, because he's gonna see it.
I see.
So he's a player that like give him concrete stuff to analyze, and he'll be able to come up with the goods.
I see. I actually had the opportunity to play Guy with the white's pieces a few weeks ago, whatever it was, and I also played a Catalan, so a similar structure, and just like this game, he played G5 and just started a crazy attack on my king.
Right.
So this is, I don't know, the whites look solid, but I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, this is a double-edged game where
Of course.
Black is, I think both players, or Black certainly is happy with the way that this game has gone because it's he's been kind of leading it on here.
I don't know if I like F4. I'm worried about this queen getting
Mike
trapped.
liked Mike liked F4.
Ah, I see.
G4, Knight F2, and maybe White can prepare E4, and there goes Black's king side.
So, okay, maybe it's a bit impulsive. I'm trying to coordinate D5 and A4 together. At the right moment,
Yeah,
this queen
trap
can be
the
caught
queen.
off guard. Yeah.
Good thinking.
But I'm sure if David's so concrete, he'll be checking it every move. So.
Well, I mean, just that he's good at winning one games and stuff like that.
I see.
He's got good technique.
Well, how about that line on to G4, Knight F2, Bishop E6?
Mm-hmm.
And if White goes pawn to E4,
Then pawn to D5.
Yeah, that's crazy. D5.
the problem with pawn to D5 is you can go C takes D5 to give the white queen a square on
The C4 square, yeah.
It's tricky to get it in.
Yeah, White could take over this game
For sure.
quickly if his pieces are on weird squares, but maybe they're good squares at the end of the day. This is strange structure.
Yeah.
It's difficult for the human mind to grasp what's going on here.
Yeah. So if you've got the black pieces here, are you trying to do something concrete and immediate, or are you just gonna finish your development?
Well, I mean, would I have played G5 without trying to develop my queen side? I don't know. I think I might have tried to untangle the queen side a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I would have tried maybe C6, although the bishop comes to F4.
Or
Actually, let's try that line.
maybe voluntarily bring the knight back to A6 to play knight C5.
Actually, let's see the game continuation.
Okay.
Pawn to G5, F4, G4,
But
knight,
there's been no. Okay, so if G4.
if G4, knight F2, and then pawn to C6. Because now the pawn to E4.
That's a good point. There's no more bishop f4.
Pawn to E4, I guess black can take. And plonk his bishop down on F5. Oh,
I
You
really
have to
like-
worry about pawn to A3.
yeah.
I
And
really
then,
like this knight a6, knight c5 idea, though.
yeah, maybe black should just take the knight back to A6 right away and just to play knight C5. See, development is the issue.
Yeah.
For, you know, and a lot of games people just get caught up in their stuff, and it's like, oh, suddenly I have I need more pieces. Oh, they're back on the background.
Everybody.
Hey, Elliot, did you win
I
that?
did.
Wow. Let's let Elliot.
Yeah,
can
of
I
course.
have Elliot? Thanks, Nathan. Come here, Elliot. Sit down here.
Thanks for having me, Paul. I'm gonna go watch in the room.
Okay. Yeah, Nathan, that was great. Thanks. Have a seat, Elliot.
Oh, very well. So 4 draws, huh?
Okay, and Elliot and I are going to take off our masks, or at least I am,
We are,
because
right?
Elliot is a colleague of mine here at the club,
Yeah, we've had the same diseases for years.
and we work in the office together. You escape by the skin of your teeth,
Yeah,
Elliot.
another crappy opening. What can you say? I gotta learn my looking.
Careful, no swearing in the chess
No,
club.
another. Okay. No, find a use in this.
I'm joined here by international master Elliot Winslow, who's
Where's the camera? Oh, it's
the
delayed.
camera's right there. Yeah, we're both sort of in the camera here. Yeah, and Elliot, take us through your game.
Must I? First, you have to get
While
to
we
it.
laugh at you.
Ha, ha, ha.
Okay,
First
so
of all, why am I on board too? But that's besides the point.
yeah, no, that's just
Okay,
they got
so let's
mixed
go
up.
back to the beginning.
Here. Bing, 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 bing,
Okay.
bing. Okay,
This is the beginning. The night
here
orb.
you want to
Here,
use
there. It's the
alright.
night orb.
okay.
And main line, more main line, old main line, very old main line. But okay, everyone keeps playing, especially hold on, especially Kevin keeps playing bishop d3 against me, and others. No one's played bishop e4 against me for a long time,
Maybe Kyron Griffith. They were
Did he?
talking about some game with Kyron Griffith,
but not mine.
Maybe
Not
where he
against
had
me.
black.
Ah.
You guys are playing this with black and white. Who can keep
Yeah, I don't
it straight? You know, I mean.
But anyway, this is an unusual move. Usually it's b5. That's the old move. But I couldn't. All I remember. This is the annoying thing. It's very bad if you remember how to get into the complications, but not how to get out of them. And I remember that b5, bishop takes, knight takes, g5, knight d7, f5, and the move they've been playing lately.
Not
is,
bishop takes g5.
No, and not knight c5, but castles. Woohoo! Castles king side.
Wow.
Stepping right up to the plate, where the plate is in
Wow.
your head and they're swinging at it.
Wow. That's
Yes, and
that's-
it's actually all kinds of interesting lines, including transposition to an old game of Nick DeFermian's, which will be in the bulletin, I'm sure.
well. So how about that, Nick?
I'm not sure which games.
You wouldn't, would you? I think it was with knight c5, and then.
It was just again against some Russian grandmaster.
No, it was against just some random middle, European player.
Okay.
Nick doesn't. Nick. We forget that there was a time when Nick didn't have to know theory because he was theory. And I'm not talking MCO either. Okay. Anyway, h6, bishop takes, and now I had in my head that this was a line, but I can't remember if it's true or not.
I think it is a line, according to Mike Walder, of course.
Of course. Yeah. So knight b5 is would be nice if it was winning 2 pawns for a piece, but it's only winning 1, so it's not good enough, supposedly. And
I would guess not,
and
right?
yeah.
Yeah, knight b5.
Now h4, this is annoying. Now what do I do against h4? Is it
Now,
g5?
Mike Walter said knight b6 here.
Woo, okay, It's always a question, which square do you put your knight on, b6 or c5, or do you put your queen on b6 or c5?
I think it was Karen Griffith's idea, right? Knight to b6, the idea of g5, bishop e5.
Whoop, you can't go there.
G5 what?
Sorry, bishop
E7.
b6, g5,
Yeah.
bishop e4, pawn to e5.
Oh, takes an e5. Well, that's covering d5. Well, I have to admit that a few moves down the line, I kind of wished I did have better coverage of d5 because I was expecting to get blown out of the water there.
This actually turned out. He actually came up with a really nice plan
Too
here.
bad it didn't work.
Well, it should have worked.
Yeah, it should have worked, but it didn't eventually. Okay, so he went there. I didn't give that enough credence. I played knight c5, and he hit my bishop. Move, tap, tap. And he pushed. And now I could trade some stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, we were looking at knight b3, take on g5, take on h1, and take on c3.
Yeah, that was a thought. Or even without knight takes
But-
c5, because then he'd mess up his pawns.
But
But
Nick
queen
said
g6
you were badly developed.
Yes,
there.
I am kind of. Queen h8 check would smush me. Because g7
Well,
would hang.
it's still your move.
Yeah, well, if takes.
Right.
If h takes, yes,
All right.
I went there.
H
instead.
takes g5, h
Yeah, well,
takes
it's too bad we
g5,
can't make moves on the board, but whatever.
h takes g5, h takes g5.
Trade rooks, queen on h1, and then if I play bishop
Bishop
takes c3,
c3,
he just takes
bc3.
back. Yes, his pawns directly, but I don't have any pieces to take advantage of them with.
I think Nick, that's exactly what Nick said.
And he's
but
threatening
I thought it was
queen check. Now I
Yeah.
could play queen check, king b2, and queen takes f4. You never know. I might survive that.
Oh yeah, what about that, Nick? Knight b3.
Queen g7 for white.
When? Where?
Queen after black plays queen e3 check and queen takes f4.
Oh, you want to just play queen? You could play queen h8 check and take on g7 right away.
Right. That's what I.
Yeah.
That's what
And then queen to e5, trying to head to the end game.
Yeah, which is
Queen
not-
to
which would be nice.
queen to g8.
Oh, you house knows. My king's on e7, right?
Right.
What if I play bishop d7 instead of his
But-
queen's on g7? And what if I just play bishop d7 and solve all my development problems, or at least a few of them, and play queen e5
If
later?
we go pawn to g6.
We're supposed to not notice that. Okay, so now I have a problem. What about queen f6?
Wait a minute. What if I play queen check on the back rank and take your rook on a8?
No, my king's on e7.
Ah,
So g6, queen f6, threatening his queen. He can trade stuff off and take on d6, but I might even draw that.
Also, you don't take the pawn on f7. You just play rook to f8.
Look to where?
f8.
Yeah, that's you're drawing that. Drawing that. So that's
An
is
achievement.
maybe-
Drawing a 1700 player. Very good, yeah. Okay, so anyway, it didn't happen. I played bishop e7, quote, keeping pieces on the board, unquote.
This was
And
remarkable.
Yeah, I saw bishop c4. I thought, that can't be good. But I was wrong. Now I've got all kinds of little problems.
Maybe you need to play g6 or something
Maybe
like
that
that.
is a good move, but of course it's always h5 or f5 or some awful
Right,
thing.
right,
Yeah,
right.
notice my queen and my knight on the wrong squares. Oh, well. So
Wham!
I
That
just
turned out
overlooked.
to be
I didn't realize how
strong.
strong this was,
Really strong.
and he played it. Now can I castle? He always just takes on f7 and plays f5, and I really do fall apart there.
All right, let's see how you survive this.
Maybe I play g takes f7 check king h8. Woohoo! I don't think so. Okay, so I took. I felt like I was down the rabbit hole here, so I castled, did I? Yeah. Now he did the wrong thing. He took on c5. That made
No,
me
we thought that was good.
Yeah. Okay. And I took with the pawn, surprising myself.
He can take on g6 here.
Yeah, you should
with
take
a
on G6.
crushing position.
Actually, no, he can't because he's hanging. That hangs. Not a crushing position. Crushing for me. Bishop take. Queen takes e6, resigns.
No, queen takes g6.
Oh, you said he can take on e6. You
no,
said.
I said queen takes g6.
Yeah, that would be interesting, definitely. So my intention was, I think, yeah, somehow I was miscalculating. I was off like in my head by a move. What do I do against that? I can't remember. Queen c6, is that it? But then he can take on d7, annoyingly. Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm probably just dead after that. But he got ahead of himself and took here.
Well, this still should probably work.
Oh, yeah? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should throw it. If he plays rook d1 check.
We were actually looking at knight d5 here.
Legal, yes, very legal. And then if queen d6,
Queen d6 just runs into e5, right?
that's nasty, I admit. Hang on. Yeah, that would be a problem, probably. Okay, so knight d5.
Oh no, or
Yeah, knight d5 right here.
yeah,
that
knight
would be a
d5.
problem, I admit it. Okay, and am I dead?
I think we thought you were dead.
Well, with the best we found, Elliot, is knight to d5, queen to c6,
Rook to d1, king to
rook
e8.
d1, and then it's not. But we thought you could try king to e8.
Oh, that's
And on
ridiculous.
queen g6 check, king f8.
Well, it's only, yeah.
Boom.
And the game, quote, goes on, unquote? I bet it doesn't. My queen's on c6? Yeah.
Yes, c6.
And if,
Well-
yeah, that's entertaining in a way.
And if he
But wait a
plays
minute.
knight takes e7, you can trade on d1 and play queen d7 check and then recapture on e7 with the queen.
Oh, that's nice, yeah. You can go
Amazing stuff here.
Back to, yeah, going back to d5, I just take it because I'm covering s7. Yeah.
So maybe you were not completely toast.
Just warm bread. Oh, well. Okay, so anyway, it was clear that I'd screwed up, but he should have just played queen takes g6 earlier.
Queen
And he
g6.
And clearly he overlooked something here. I'm slithering away.
Yeah, you are. You are. And this is a remarkable turnaround here. What about queen g7 here? Maybe that's better.
Don't tell me. Well, I have queen d6 or something. Maybe not.
Maybe.
Depends on queen
Because
takes
if,
d7.
rook d1, queen f4 check.
Well, queen g7, queen d6, e5.
Queen d2, king b1.
What, where? Oh, queen d6. I see, you're saying for him. Yeah, and then I have nothing, of course. Too bad my king's still on the wrong square. I guess I have queen d7 now. But that's getting unfun.
Well,
Yeah, that's good. That's getting to be pretty low.
this was definitely not good.
Yeah, this
I
did not
think.
work out.
And this now turns the game around.
Completely.
I think.
It's nice how all the little lines work.
Oh my
He was not happy with
God.
himself.
We were, yeah. Well, he's got himself to blame for moving so quickly, and
maybe. Look what moving slowly did for me. Yeah, it just doesn't work anymore. No time. Yeah, he put himself.
Maybe could he go knight to e5 now?
That's what he did. I played queen to. Oh no, I just take on e6 then.
Yes.
Very.
No, knight d5 is a check.
Oh, it is. Oh, rook takes d5. Yeah, I get him on b2. That might be holdable. Either way he takes, I get queen takes b2 check. If he takes with the e pawn, then c2 is actually protected. Annoyingly, but I get to play queen takes b2 check, king up, queen takes to d4 check, and then queen takes f4 because there's no longer an e pawn, and that's good for me, I think, because now he can't even bother me anymore. So I'm just. What's the count? I'm up a pawn, and I have bishops opposite colors, and his king's more exposed than mine. And if he takes with the bishop on d5, same thing, pretty much. Queen takes b2 check, king d2. That one's less clear. Maybe queen c3 is better there, because then I can take on c2 if he goes to the e file. So he'd have to go back somehow. But then I have a queen check, and then queen takes f4 anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, I keep on pulling the plug on him.
Well, then he's got queen f7 check.
Ooh, that's annoying. Okay, that's a problem.
Well, then you
Or is
have
it?
rook d7.
No, I don't have a rook anymore.
Oh, that's right.
I am rookless. So I could play.
And you get mated on b7.
Okay, let me think. Yeah, let me think. That's actually interesting. Maybe I just have to play king. And then he has taking away the bishop is interesting. So knight d5 check, rook takes, bishop takes, queen. Ooh, I could take with the bishop maybe. I don't know if that works. Oh, of course. Bishop takes, followed by queen takes queen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. So take with the pawn.
Well,
is
and then
forced.
I win the f pawn, and,
And
he has
then
no
you-
threats.
yeah.
His bishop is out of play on e6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute now. Queen b2, king d2,
Queen d4.
king.
I even get to throw a check. Well, I don't have queen e4 check, but I might have some other. I have queen. I just take an f4 next.
And he doesn't even have a queen check. Without, well, he can trade queens on f7.
No, it doesn't even happen. My bishop's in the way on f6. I just play king b8.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not a happy situation for him.
No.
Black finally gets his Tringo Fisher attack or whatever. That's what game I think of when I think of those.
Hey, thanks first time chat. Subo Tahan, queen f7 check on the knight d5. In fact, that was what was played, I think. Right?
And so we will examine that. Just
No, he played e5. So if knight d5 here,
it's similar. I just play. Oh, of course, if I take on b2, then he does have this queen c7, admittedly.
and he can take back with the bishop.
Now, yes, that's true. Okay, let's see that.
That's a good point.
Knight d5, first queen d2 check,
That's the obvious move, of course.
king d2, queen to d4 check.
Oh yes, if he goes to the e file, I take off the e pawn, and then I take on maybe d5. Well, that's
And
dangerous. I can't do that.
Queen c7 check.
No, hold up. Queen takes b2 check, king d2, queen d4 check, king back to c1 is possible, of course.
And you can go queen a1 check and take the rook on h.
I can I? Does he have a perpetual or anything in there? Doesn't look like it.
And the knight is pinned on d5.
How quaint. Yeah, that's nice. Not that he was going anywhere. Anyway.
Okay. All right. And so he did play e5. And then
HF8, just
that was
timely.
that was crushing.
Yeah, very, very convenient. Knight d5 definitely was out of the frying pan into the fire.
I think White just decided not to calculate variations.
Yes, that's the word that was missing.
He decided not to calculate, and he got punished for it.
Yeah, there were lines. There were lines, and there were bait. There was bait on the end of them, and he. Yeah, this is all very nice.
This is just
In fact, the endgame just rolls out
it's
very
just
nicely.
crushing. There was nothing he could do.
Yeah,
There was nothing White could have done anyway.
Yeah,
No.
it just works perfectly.
I was predicting all your moves here.
It's hard not to. Yeah, Rook d4. I was going to play b5 originally, but then I said, well, Rook d4 is pretty good. Yeah, this
Nice game, Elliot.
Yeah, not really, but yeah. I mean, there were some things to be proud of in it, but I gotta learn my openings better as usual.
Well, the thing is that you are showing game after game after game after game that the openings really, these players can get you in the opening, and then you just outplay them afterwards.
Happens.
And they really need to. If they're going to make if these club players are going to make any progress, they are going to need to learn how to play
Ruben
some
finds
chess.
the ideas behind the chess openings, or after the chess
So they're
openings.
going to learn. They need to learn how to play some real chess. I mean,
Yeah, I guess.
the opening
But
is one
I
thing.
have to
and the
point out
rest-
something else. I'm
Yeah.
winning in the middle game now. Before it was I get crushed in the opening and the middle game, and then I win the end game. But I'm catching up.
You're
up to the middle
catching
game.
up. Yeah. No. Yeah, I was thinking maybe those kids that we coached today had kind of rattled your brains a bit, but
That could happen.
look at you. You came back and
Well,
from
I started out
the
rattled.
dead here.
I really should have thought a little more. There's so few games of his to look at. I don't even know what.
No, Adam Stafford.
I know him that he had even played D4 in the Open Sicilian.
Now, what was Adam Stafford's rating a year ago?
It was about the same.
He was like unrated.
He was unrated.
No, that's not true. Adam F. Stafford?
Yeah,
I looked him up. I thought.
yeah, but he was like,
Was it a year ago?
yeah.
Those he's played like 50 tournaments or
No, but I
something.
mean, he was like unrated, and then he had like a rating of like 1,000. But he plays every weekend.
So he's an up and coming player that needs to kind of
But
get.
he played a ton online.
Yeah, that's.
Oh,
it.
that's what those were.
So online is really.
It's
a
thrown
different-
everything out of whack.
It's thrown everything out of whack. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody thinks I'm a 2250 player, but I'm actually a lot better than that.
Oh, well, I think you
I'm
are.
joking,
I
I'm joking.
mean,
Well, the online
you
play,
know,
not really. I too many old people moves. Sorry.
yeah, well,
That's how it
I
works.
mean, that's how you're winning a lot of. That's
But look at the weekend. I did win. I tied for first. I got a half point by because I had to play in Berkeley,
Right.
So I won all my games, but in every game, I was in trouble.
And how are you doing in Berkeley?
I drew somebody. I drew Stephen Tiem, and I'm tied with Walter, who I quick drawed. I McGrawed against.
Okay.
So he and I are, and someone else are tied for first.
Okay.
I'll probably win.
They don't have the 40 move draw rule in Berkeley, you know.
I don't remember which.
You can't offer a draw.
I think we played the Queen D4 check, Queen D4, Queen D4, Queen D4 from the Berlin that Nakamura has played a gazillion times. So I got to play E4, E5 again.
So, yeah. Did you happen to see my report on the Meltwater tournament that I wrote for the Tuesday night for the newsletter?
When was this?
While it was going on, okay. I wrote an article. I called it the Meltdown Championship because of all the just the horrible blunders, and also the opening, the draws that were made in the openings, like after. Like 5 games were drawn from the same position out of the Petrov and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was
the one that they're big on is the Berlin, where there's a line where White plays instead of playing D takes E5, he just plays. He plays. How does it go? He plays D takes E5, Knight takes B5, A4, and the Knight's trapped.
Bong Cloud in Berkeley. Do you know? Isn't there a Bong Cloud opening?
Yeah, it's some.
There's
It's some King F2 or something.
Right, yeah. I can imagine Bobby Fischer having a lot of trouble against that.
I can imagine him playing and everybody else having a lot of trouble against shades of the alleged but never quite verified Short versus Fischer match.
So you have to play Ru Yang, huh?
Oh, yeah, she's still there. I forgot.
Yeah, I know Hikaru played that. Yeah. I just think that there's so much, like, funny chess being played.
Funny how?
Funny how, yeah. Well, there's a book out there on the bookshelf, and it's called Karpov. It was published in 1974. It's Karpov, The Complete Games. 500,
way back then.
520 something games. And Karpov became the world champion playing only 520 some odd tournament games. And I'm like, well, we have players that are like 15 years old that have played like 3,000 tournament games.
Recorded games, because they're all on chess.com or Light Chess and all those.
So it's an...
What happened? Oh, that's Nick sitting down.
That's Nick coming back.
I had to get my tea.
I see.
So Nick, there's a book out there on the shelf published in 1974. After Karpov had won the title by default over Fischer, and it's called Karpov: The Complete Collected Games. How many games? 530 games.
How many games did they finally?
He became the world champion with only 530 recorded games.
Where is the needle settled onto how many games Fischer played in his life?
It's over. I think it's over 1,000.
Okay.
There's over 1,000 games of simul's and all that kind of stuff that they've found.
But tournament games, it's about 800.
Yeah, 800 tournament games. Meanwhile, Carlsen's played thousands. And I'm sure Lasker and Capablanca and some of those players played a lot less than that.
Yeah, I've played. Those are tournament games.
Okay.
2193.
That's not that many.
That doesn't include the online games.
Right. So Elliot's recorded
so far
2,000 of his own games.
I probably got about 400 or 500 unentered games.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing that the more chess you play doesn't necessarily mean you're the better player. Certainly, I find it phenomenal that Karpov and Fischer both became world champion. Each of them playing considerably less than 1,000 tournament games.
But they would study a lot.
Quality, not quantity.
Yeah, and they made every game count, Yeah. But they didn't mess around with these Bong Cloud openings. Yeah. I'm sorry I had to get a dig there. Yeah. But
advertising for a state in which marijuana is legal.
Okay, so Elliot wins. Let's go look at board 2 here for a second.
Not much progress.
Elliot,
since
that was a
then.
big game. You were tied for first with Adam Stafford. So.
Yes, that was an important win. What's going on in this game?
Well, White threw up his pawns on the king side and
threw
kind of
up. Vomited his pawns on the king side.
But wasn't that
Wait,
bad.
what's king h1? He didn't play h4? What happens if bishop takes g5? Youth wants to know. Does b4 win a piece? Subtle
Okay, so
move.
if bishop takes g5, pawn to b4.
Picks off the bishop.
So king h1 is a trap.
Yes.
Very nice.
Well, h4 was probably right, but whatever. Yeah, maybe who can say what one of
Okay,
the
so this game is still up in the air. Let's go to, and Elliot's off. Oh no, you're on camera. People can still see you, which is good.
Okay.
Here's David Askin versus Guy Argo. Let's go back a couple of moves.
When last
After
you saw-
f4, Guy threw in knight to e4, Nick.
Okay, so
Must be
he
a-
just
yep, it's a-
sacrificed.
it's a-
Again, Guy plays such active chess. He's always finding some interesting continuation.
It's the
And,
mind.
94.
What is
So,
it?
So the knight at h3 hangs if white takes twice. And Mike is saying, Askin missed knight e4, which looks dude to me. Yeah, it looks dude.
the 94 pawn takes c4, knight f2 look pretty dude.
Oh, he didn't take it. That was
It
wrong.
looks pretty
He had
dude.
taken knight f2. He
But he
picks off
took
the
on
pawn.
g5 instead.
Legal, but maybe that's not so bad.
No, that looks probably okay. This game is really getting wild here.
Knight c5 is
Whoa.
what happened.
So,
Look at that
yeah.
queen.
Look at that.
And that queen is
Trapped. That's it. He won. That should be it. Queen a3, knight c2. Tell me the game isn't over.
Oh, you can't just resign for just losing your queen.
Certainly not my opponents. There's a guy in Berkeley who never ever resigns. Somebody said it's traditional in Persia or in Iran not to resign.
Is that right?
I don't know if that's true or not, but or maybe he.
Is it well?
His chess coach when he was 7.
But
or younger.
didn't Shirazi resign a game in a few moves?
I think Shirazi had shirt. I don't know. Oh, right, the famous game. Oh no, that was made. No, just kidding. The Tate game. That one was made. You know, Yermolinsky versus Tate.
No. How did that game go?
Nick, do you know how that game went? I can't remember the moves so well. It was a 6.
I don't remember.
It's a.
Okay, the Shirazi game. Michael, type the Shirazi game out and message it to everybody.
Oh, well, I can tell you that one. That was the wing gambit.
Yes.
E4, C5, B4. C pawn takes B4, pawn to A3, and then pawn to D5 in the center. Pawn on E4 takes on D5. The black queen takes on D5. Now, Shirazi decided to get his gambit pawn back with pawn on A3 takes white pawn on B4.
And then lost the rook in the corner.
Yes.
Queen E5 check skewers the rook on A1 and the king on E1.
Heavy frustration factor.
So, is that a fork or a skewer?
It's a double attack.
Or double attack?
I guess you call it a fork.
Yeah, I like calling it a skewer too. It's got a skewer quality to it, even though it's like, sort of a fork. Anyway, I feel like I'm going to say a swear word if I try to combine the two words, fork and skewer.
Forgot Tate's first name. Oh,
Emery Tate?
Of course, Emery.
I played him once, actually. So, seems to be one of Askin's problems is he's got good technique, but he gets lost in the weeds sometimes, and this is just This is a.
weeds. Oh God, it just.
He's lost his queen. Queen a3, knight c2. Some just.
There's just nothing decent.
You know, Guy is playing some nice chess.
Well, it's always entertaining. So I just love seeing his games.
Yeah, and you're right, Subo, if I can call you that for short, that White should have definitely taken on e4, and maybe then played knight f2, or a3 or something like that. Just clear the air here. Don't watch what your opponent can do. He's not going to automatically take back on g5. He might find something like knight c5, and you're in trouble.
Yes, there it was. David was so concentrated on what's happening on the queen side, he just forgot to focus on the king side. He just forgot about the queen side.
Right.
And
That was a serious lapse of concentration by White for sure. All right, let's roll on here to the talented duo of Christian Clemens and Nicholas Wang, and looks like that sort of nice end game here. Black's playing a good game, but Christian, as is typical, he shares that with Elliot actually, of getting into these kind of dubious opening. Actually, Christian plays the aimless middle game. That's his forte. That's his forte. Is the aimless. This is great. I get to know the players, and I make all these, So Christian tends to play the aimless middle game. And then, when his opponent sort of backs him up against the wall, he's able to put up a great fight. And that's kind of his strength. Nicholas is too young for me to tell what kind of a player he is yet.
But here he's slightly better in the end game. Like trade the bishop on g2.
Centralize the rook at f8. Maybe.
Centralize the rook at f8. You've got a little space advantage in the end game. But yes, can a young player actually grind down Christian Clemens in this end game? Not easy.
All right. Let's roll back up to, let's go down to the top board in the under 1800 section, where I'm rooting for Sammy Agdamag in this section. He's got 3.5 out of 4.
He lost today.
Oh, he lost today. Sammy. He was playing Adam Ginsberg, who I'm not sure if I know. Is he a kid?
No.
No.
He's a young adult.
Young adult. Meanwhile, we have the mad attacker Adam Mercado with Black here, and he's living up to his name here. Looks like Black is in the driver's seat, huh? Winning the exchange, Nick.
Yes, but there's some compensation. The white pieces are pretty good. The that pawn on d5 is quite nice. But that bishop can land on e4. Maybe you just take with the king even on f1. So some compensation for the exchange.
Wow, Elliot just showed me this game, Yermolinsky versus Emery Tate. I'd never seen it before.
It was nice of Tate to play queen takes queen. That's the point.
Brilliant game.
Yeah, cute. But, I don't know what the objective nature of it is. Anyway.
Well, if it's more than a 4-move game, we can't talk about it on the.
It was a whole 9 moves.
Well, you can all look it up.
Yeah, it was in where was it played?
It's probably on chessgames.com.
Yeah, that's where I'm seeing it, I think.
So
yes, it comes with a warning. If Tate's your hero, don't look at this game.
Knight takes g2. Is that really a good move?
Is it? That's what he played?
So if knight takes g2, rook takes f3, and then the rook hangs at c1.
Wait a minute.
So bishop takes
Wow.
g2. Yeah, look at that. Knight g2 is a remarkable,
Oh, nice little catchy little move there.
nice move.
But is it good?
Okay.
What? Oh, the queen, the rook hangs at c1.
Yeah, yeah.
Did he play it? Not yet. Let's be quiet. Shh. Which game is this?
This is
Parsons versus Mercado.
This is Parsons Mercado.
Mercado will see the occasional shot. This
Yeah,
is
no,
a good time to notice.
Yeah, Mercado
What's
is
the count
quite
here, by the way? Black's up the
39.
exchange anyway.
Black's up the exchange, but he has a
For a
nice
pawn.
shot here.
Yeah.
Knight g2.
Yeah, it puts white out. That just snuffs him.
Nice move.
Oh, yes, very good.
Hey,
Well, that's-
everybody, thanks for joining us. Paul Whitehead here, sitting with Elliot Winslow, half of Elliot Winslow's face, and at the Tuesday night marathon.
Ta-da.
International Master Elliot Winslow. We're here at the Mechanics Institute live. We're sitting in the office above us. You can see the webcam showing half the chess club. He found knight takes g2.
Cool.
Yeah, we've got some talented players
That gets
here
a
in the
diagram for
club.
sure.
Knight takes g2.
You better win the game though. White does have a mass of pawns, but knight takes e3 check's gonna take him out.
Nice move, huh, Nick?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Just destroying the pawn structure.
Everything goes wrong. You can play bishop takes, queen takes, rook c2, and hang on. Not for very long.
Yes, he gets to fight for a few more moves.
Or how about knight takes, rook takes f3, and I don't know, something. d6 or something, trying to get some play going. That doesn't work though. You just pile up on the f2 pawn. God.
Nice move, really. Our the players here at the Mechanics can show when they're on the DGT boards, they take the opportunity to show their stuff.
Yes, DGT is legal in California.
DGT is legal in California.
Well, in Oakland at least. It's got to be organic though.
Okay, let's move on to board 2, where we're getting this. White is playing the take no prisoners style of chess here. The only kind of chess that's allowed at the Mechanics Institute.
We put the players in a steel cage.
I've heard though, if you go down that back staircase, there's some jail cells down there.
There's actually an
Little room.
office, a little room
Yeah.
down there, a little staff room.
Steve Brandwine
Staff
Memorial
room.
Bedroom.
Did Steve?
I think he did sleep down there occasionally. I don't remember why, but
No, I'm not sure if it was Steve, but other players were known to.
we shouldn't put this in a place where Sam could hear about it. Okay, I leave you.
All right, good night,
night.
Elliot.
See you,
Congratulations.
Are you showing up at any school that I'll be in?
No, not until next Tuesday.
See you here.
Yeah, but we'll see you here. Okay. When are you coming into town next?
Tomorrow. I'll see
For are you stopping by the club at all?
I could. Are you in most of the day?
I'm here. Yeah, from 11 to about 4, 3. No, probably 3.
Okay. Well, I'll get the game
3:30. Okay. Mike says phone home.
Hey, how'd you do?
Very well.
Okay.
I've eaten.
All right. He says he's eating. Okay, folks, that was International Master Elliot Winslow leaving the off chess room office. He won a suspicious game today.
He's winning all the tournaments. He's won the Gobler Open. He was winning in Berkeley.
Yeah, no, Elliot's a outstanding player around here. He's the man to beat. Yeah, he's Mr. Tuesday night. So, all right. This game's still got a ways to go. Let's see, David Askin, after knight to c5. White's queen is lost. He just gave it up.
Oh, but he's also lost now his dark squared bishop.
The threat was to the pawn at e2, and now knight b3 comes, and this is just getting worse.
Yes, knight b3 is a nice move.
And black is just playing simple chess.
And
All right, good night, Mike. We'll see you at the chess cafe.
good night, Mike.
How was the chess cafe, Nick? I missed it
Oh.
last week.
Is there? We missed you. We missed you. That was so it was somewhat fewer people. It's
Okay.
maybe they didn't get your email because you weren't there, or maybe they just knew they were going to miss you. So
Kind words, but oh yeah, the mechanics. We have an online chess cafe, so go to chessclub.org or milibrary.org and check out the chess room, and maybe join us for the chess cafe on Mondays.
4 to 5:30.
Yeah, 4 to 5:30, hour and a half of chess conversation. Joined usually by Alexi Rue, sometimes by Sal Matera from New York. Talk about chess. Go over some games. The free expression of ideas. And anybody's welcome to send in their games. Did you go over any games, Nick?
Yes, I mean we had Alexi had a couple of her games that she played in a Thanksgiving tournament there in Texas.
Yeah, so people send in their games, and
Richard Hack could not be there to give us our beginning philosophy reading of chess philosophy because he had to be on jury duty.
Jury duty.
But the judge let him out, so he's able to come next week.
I mean, yeah. If you feel like sitting in for a minute here, and having a little chat, I'm going to take a quick break. Here comes Abel Talamentes to tell you the latest and the greatest.
Yeah. Plug this weekend.
All right. You might want to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Stretch my legs.
How's it going, Nick?
Good.
Yeah.
So,
There was a great game that went on that I think is newsletter worthy. It wasn't on the broadcast, but it was Glenn Kaplan and Anthony Acosta. Like sacrifice and just aggression galore and haymakers. It was good. So wish we had that on the screen, but missed out on that. But just wanted to let anyone watching know this Saturday we're gonna have a 1-day 4-round USCF rated game in 45 5-second delay. Guthrie McLean Memorial, former editor of California Chess Reporter and member of the board at Mechanics. So 4 rounds, game in 45 this Saturday. We already got quite a few registrations for that, so kind of excited about that. So come to Mechanics Saturday for some chess action. I'll be the TD. Not that that makes a difference, but maybe it does. All the rounds start on time, so we'll have that. So what happened, I did see that David Askin's queen was trapped, and it looks like it got taken.
yes, he had a good game, and he was so focused on the king side, he just thought about this step back with the knight that this and pushed the queen to a square, and the next move trapped it. Geez,
That's got to be
the players when they're so intent on one thing.
Yeah. And what about Daniel Wang, and
Daniel, he's very young. He's like 12 years old.
no, he's I mean he's young, but I mean he looks like he's like 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a little bit older, but he is on the rise big time because I mean only a few months ago he was unrated. And then just a funny story, I remember he came to a quads. I think it was like 2 months ago, and he was still technically unrated. And then he had asked if he can play in with his real time rating, which I didn't realize was like 15 something. And we let him do it. And I remember telling Judith, like, oh, he should be playing in the unrated, but we're gonna let him, but he's probably gonna get crushed. And I think he ended up winning the quad with the 1500. And then I remember I had to play him a game because I had to step in for somebody that had he played one game, but then something happened, had to go or something. And so I ended up playing him. And it was sort of a drawn position, and I kind of threw it away in time pressure. But I remember it's like, no, he's definitely stronger. He's not the typical unrated. And now he's like competing in the top section, like playing decently. I mean, he had a draw with David Askin, and he's had some other big wins. So he's definitely for real.
Yes, I thought he'd come up so quickly. That's why I thought he was so young.
Yeah, and he's been playing a lot lately. He's sort of taken the Adam Stafford approach where just plays a ton of volume of games and just seems to get better and just playing a lot. Yeah, no, he's the real deal. So it'd be fun to see his progression. Same with Adam. It's just, he was playing a lot online with us at Mechanics, and it just seems like he got really good really fast. I know he was UC Berkeley, so I know he was playing with Nathan Fong and all those other players at UC Berkeley that Stearman and Shritha and all that. But Daniel Wang, he's someone to watch for sure.
Oh, well, this game's very interesting. I like Daniel just goes for it, too. So.
Yeah, he seems like he's not afraid to make moves. And actually, when he was playing David Askin, David was desperately trying to break through the position. And, Daniel kept his composure. And, I was waiting to see if he would get a little bit rattled because he had a player that was trying to use his rating as sort of imposing on him and trying to induce him into a mistake. But yeah, he never made that mistake, and he looked like he was playing calm and confident. So, and that's what you got to do, because I know the feeling of making that mistake against a higher rated player that's pushing me. So I make mistakes against the lower rated players that push me too. So. What about Christian Clemens' game? Seems like everything just solid so far.
Pretty much. Yes, Christian was sort of playing very solid, a little bit passively with the white pieces, but so
this is
Nicholas Wang can he actually press with a little endgame edge? Question.
And this is a position I would expect from Christian. Just solid, just kind of see how it plays out and develops. And in stark contrast, Adam Mercado's usually just throwing the pieces out there. And it looks like he is on the hunt.
Yeah. There's yeah. Well, I mean, he has to be winning here with the exchange up.
So these have all been marked on the board.
Okay, perfect. And then I'll just get you the other file.
How you doing, boss?
Going good. Just I'm breaking down the games here, letting Nick have a shot at some variations.
This has been
I was telling Nick there was a game between Glenn Kaplan and Anthony Acosta that was like fantastic game. I wish it was one of the ones.
well. Maybe you can throw it in the newsletter.
Yeah. It definitely newsletter worthy. So,
Adam's doing good here.
and then it's kind of odd to have like games on the top 3 boards like done so early. Not all 3, but
Right.
Elliott's and Nathan Fong against Caven.
Nathan Fong he blew him away.
Yeah, he blew him away.
That was that pure prep, or
I think it's just a weak opening by Caven. This knight g7 move, he did a little preparation, and Black never survived. Made a couple of passive moves in the opening. Yeah.
can you believe it's like December tomorrow?
Is it December tomorrow?
Yeah, man, time flies.
I know. When did you take over as chief of the Mechanics Institute Chess Club?
December 2nd will be 3 years.
That's what I thought.
Wow.
Yeah,
December.
I knew it. So you're coming up to your
And I think I get more vacation and sick time then. I think 3 years is
right. So we won't see you for a few months, right?
well, no. I mean, if it's anything how it's been, then I work even harder. Then I don't take any sick.
The Mechanics Chess Club is lucky to have you. You're the. We were just talking about that. Abel is the tournament director of the organizer of the year for U.S. Chess, and that's during the pandemic.
Yeah, which it's sort of a. I think it's funny that I won that award because
I think during that it's
definitely
special significance that it happened during the pandemic, and definitely a feather in your cap.
Yeah, it's like the support I have all around me is just like phenomenal. I mean, everyone here makes me look a lot better than I really am. I mean, Judith is like a workhorse organizer and tournament director, and then I got you guys providing like the coverage and the broadcast.
We just want our picture a little bigger on the broadcast. Right,
it's like I'm giving look at the inside of the room, and then I'd make you guys like really small.
Yeah.
And philosophically, it's to suggest that the players are more important.
No,
right?
Nick and
They
I
make up the-
top billing.
You guys want to be like just overlords over the whole.
Yeah.
But I mean it's that award. I mean it was a complete shock. Like I never even thought of that award. And like I said before, it's like I do have a feeling that John Donaldson may have played a convincing role in that, but like you said, hey, that's part of the game.
Well, I don't know if that's. I don't know. One way or the other.
But I am proud of everything we did during the pandemic, and we organized events,
you can't.
we kept community together.
I think that the award during the pandemic is a special, very special thing. It's going to be remembered. Like, hey, who was the organizer, the chess organizer of any year is not, but the pandemic year, that's something else.
Well, and the thing is, when you say the organizer, right? I mean, some of the things I was like the most proud of. I mean, we organized the Pan American Intercollegiate, the Junior Chess Congress, the Amateur Team West. We did all those online,
Right.
With the help of like
yeah, I mean, it wasn't
geniuses like Glenn Panner and Merritt Thorpe and then Judith. But I hope, and I know it probably wasn't a consideration, but what I am proud of is like, we did the matches with like Zurich
Yeah, we played
and
Zurich,
Hamburg
Right.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, whatever. Sean Connery, may you rest in peace.
You know, Royal Dutch Chess Club, and
Yeah.
you know, we just did like cool things, right? And
A lot of cool things.
yeah, so that was fun.
The
And
club was alive
Yeah,
during the.
yeah.
Even though you see all the players in the club, we weren't in the club, but the club was totally alive during the pandemic.
yeah,
It was
and-
incredible.
And then when we came back, it's like, hey, now we're back. It's not like we were strangers, right? So
yeah.
So
And now
yeah,
they're flocking back in the club. How many people in this tournament?
80 plus, so
80
85,
plus.
86.
Oh,
We're
soon it'll be back to 100.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to have the players in the. I mean, we almost had to set up the tables in the meeting room. We were just one board, not having to do it. So, you know, it's nice having everything in one room, but you know, yeah, we're gonna have to set up the meeting room pretty soon, which is a good problem to have because that means the players are back,
for sure. Yeah.
So, all right, I'll let you guys get
Okay.
to the games, and yeah,
All right.
nice chatting.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Nick.
Okay.
But during the next
Thanks, Abel.
100 years from now, they'll say, what did the Mechanics Institute do back in 2018?
Right.
I would say we kicked ass is what we did.
Yeah, we did pretty good. Let's see. Looks like some of the games are still going on. And let's see. This is board 2. And Blank just played Queen C3, but Nick, Rook D4 looks really strong instead of that move. Because Bishop D4, Rook D4, and then the Rook can take on H4. Black gets 2 pawns for the exchange. Whew.
There was no way to defend that H4.
I know. I mean, Queen C3, I guess the idea is Rook C1, Queen D3, and Black is maybe nominally better, but, or even, but I would have, I would have seriously thought of Rook takes G4.
Yes, that looks, I mean, perfect to sacrifice an exchange when the white position is so, you know, overextended that way.
Queen C3 is more cautious.
But here Rook D1 just holds it together for white.
Okay, let's move on to Askin, Guy Argo. And after knight takes c1, I think that we must have resigned here because we have this nonsensical rook a1 move. So this game is over. Black wins.
Yes.
And we're left with Christian Clemens versus Nicholas Wang.
Okay, slowly moving. Now, pawn takes on d4.
Yeah, that seems to shut out the bishop.
I'm a little worried about that bishop becoming a bad bishop. Ooh.
And
Now,
knight,
knight to e5.
that's actually maybe a good move, knight to b5.
Yeah, because you're going to get the c file. But that, how can you guard the a pawn and keep the c file? So suddenly, patient Christian is getting an endgame advantage against his young opponent.
Maybe rook c5 would keep the balance.
Okay, that may be a good move. Best one.
Well, it's like I said, Christian has this habit of playing aimlessly in the middle game, but then his opponent starts to push him, and Christian is quite good at fighting back from that point on.
Yes.
You know, but his middle game play tends to be pretty aimless, I've found. And if he doesn't get massacred somehow, then he's quite capable of massacring the other player back.
So rook c5, maybe white has to take on c5. Still a little better for the white side. I would prefer just because of that bishop on
Yeah, the
on
bishop
g7.
getting a bit locked out. Black will have to try for a quick e5, e4 or something, but even that might not solve the problem. All right, let's take a look at the top board where Adam Mercado is, the top board in the under 1800 section. Adam Mercado is putting on the pressure here
Yeah, putting the screws
against
there.
Stephen Parsons. This is critical position for White. I think White is in serious trouble here.
Looks like that c pawn's going to go.
Maybe Queen e3. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, queen e3.
I'm just trying to hold on here and not lose instantly in some way to Queen d1 check or something.
Queen e3, we might trade and go
Rook c4.
rook c4. But yeah, you might be able to trade off a couple pawns, might play with some technique.
All right, let's go back up to Rook c1 was played, and now that forces either the queen to go back to a5 or b4 or in with queen to d3. Black missed an opportunity to sack the exchange.
Yeah, it would have been nice, in the middle game to have that white king so open.
All right, this game is still in progress. Let's go back to I'm just taking, okay, this game is obviously over. Let's go to Clemens Wang, and he does play rook c5. And this game is still in progress. All right.
Okay, this is a real battle, and Christian is lower on time, so not...
This game here? Yeah.
We had so much action in the beginning of these rock'em sock'em games. So now we're left with the end games.
Yeah, this is sorry for yawning, folks, but not because the games are boring, but it's a little late here in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. Any tournaments on the horizon for you, Nick?
Not right now. It'll be next year. I'll play a tournament. I'm feeling I should even try one of the Tuesday night marathons.
Well, Nick, it's funny you should say that, Nick. But maybe you and I should commit to playing in the 50th.
I love that idea.
In the 50th version of it, maybe you and I
think
should
it's a
play,
great
and
idea.
we can have a guest commentator for the tournament instead of us.
Awesome. I'll even play in it. I know that doesn't mean anything. But.
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, yeah, it could be like a celebrity. Not counting me, of course, but
We could offer like a bounty if you beat one of the staff.
So, what do you think, Nick? Next year,
Next year to the 50th anniversary. Yeah, that sounds good.
they'll have to. They're a 50th version of the TNM. Maybe sometime in the middle of the year. You can have a lot of planning. I mean, this is a historic chess tournament.
Yeah.
We could really try to promote it in some way, not just because you're playing, but because some other, we could get a, bump in the prize fund or something like that. Or
we could ask John if he'll play it.
yeah, maybe John could play or something like that. He's got a busy schedule, of course, busier than anybody else I know. But
we're having the 50th anniversary of the Tuesday Night Marathon, the 1,000th newsletter coming up.
oh yeah, the 1000th newsletter. That's right. Gosh,
So much tradition in this club,
I know.
and it's just such a lively club. 80 players showing up on Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
This game will be a grind.
Okay, well, let's move on to the Adam Mercado game. Still, White is still in the think tank here. I think he's in trouble, obviously. Back up to board 2. Not really board 1, which was between Winslow and actually Elliott is now leading this tournament.
Oh yes, it leads.
And if this game ends in a draw, he'll have increased his lead even more, I think, because these players, Elliott now has 4.5 out of 5, and these players have 3 points. And Kevin Reese already lost. So if this game ends in a draw, then Elliott will be a full point ahead of the field.
With 3 rounds to go.
Yeah,
rounds is a lot.
That's true.
But yes, he used one of his 9 lives today. Gave the great Adam Stafford attack.
So is Black right to play like this? I mean, or is this another way that Black has a clear advantage after Queen D3, Bishop D3, for example? What does
I'm sure Black is better in the end game. That's I think he would have been with your exchange sacrifice on D4 would have been much better, but he's certainly a little better here.
I was impressed by Nathan Fong and all the stuff that he was looking at during the game. It makes me realize that for the players, they're seeing more than we are. I think for the most part. Sometimes
they're really focused, yes, and they're thinking for 10 minutes or something.
Yeah,
got a lot of ideas.
Yeah. I particularly I make very superficial comments as a commentator, and I know that dribbles off into my actual over the board play again. So I'm gonna have to, if I play in a Tuesday night marathon tournament, I'm gonna have to eat my Wheaties beforehand.
Well, it's I don't know. I think all this commentary, keeps your mind fresh for the chess. So be interesting.
So White avoids the exchange of queens and threatens queen takes f7 check.
Yes. So.
You got to hand it to these players, man. They come out swinging. And Daniel Wang, by the way, is rated 1700, and the white player, and the black player is rated 2097.
Wow.
So the black player is got more experience, higher rating, but is maybe being a little too careful in this game. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, it's interesting. So maybe bishop to f5.
Here.
After queen f7, and then the rook could come to d1, black queen away. Oh, that could get actually very dangerous. Something like bishop f5, rook to d1, the queen has to go away to c3, and then bishop to h3 is possible if black bishop on f5 takes on h3, the queen takes h7 check, and queen h5 check is a perpetual. It's more than a perpetual. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. But there are real attacking chances for white here.
Black can play something more careful, right? Like play bishop a3 or something like that.
Bishop a3, the rook comes to d1.
Right.
Then I guess queen to f5. But then queen to e2 and
I like white's queen f3. It really muddies the waters a bit.
yes.
And it was a good move.
You know, young Daniel Ing could draw this game. I mean, he could win it, but he's got real threats over there.
Okay, it looks to me like Nicholas is starting to sort of lose the thread here. If that knight's position on c5 gets undermined, black could be in trouble here.
Yes. So maybe he can go rook to d7.
And if knight c4, b5, knight b6, scary.
Yeah, knight c4, I was thinking just to the knight back to d7.
Oh, there you go, yeah. Threatening b5. That's a good move. Black has to be careful. And maybe both players do. Okay, interesting position.
Yes, the slower endgames.
And this game is over. The finish was black starts to move in, and white lost the rook. Played rook c2 and lost the rook to queen d1. But to be fair, it looked like he was lost anyway.
Yes.
Judith, how did you do?
I lost.
All right, Judith lost. You want to come in and talk about it? No. Tell us what's going on.
Woods.
Tell us what's going on in your world, Judith.
My world, nothing.
You have to move over so we can see. This is Judith Starry.
Licking my wounds.
How is it possible that you can play the game while you're,
Well, I didn't have to really TD a lot, so I wasn't TDing. I was really focusing on the game this time.
Actually, you can ask Paul about the ending. She had what was essentially, she had a knight against 3 connected pawns.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I lost 2 pawns early on, and then he was attacking, and I managed to.
You fought back.
Fought back, and he went down on time, but then he pushed his 3 pawns and.
Judith, we're gonna make you the strongest player in this club one day.
That's the joke of the year.
Hey, tell her the idea about the 50th.
Okay, so there's the 50th Tuesday night marathon. I mean, the 50th anniversary of the Tuesday night
nice.
marathon. It was started in 1972.
Oh, nice. Wow. Cool.
So next year,
Next year? Okay.
Nick
Yeah,
is
let's
talking about playing
Okay, well,
in this tournament.
nice.
And if Nick plays, I can't. I have to play.
You have to play.
And then Abel was talking about playing.
And then John
and,
Donaldson will
and we'd
show
have
up
to get
hopefully.
Donald. John,
Nice.
he's got the busiest schedule in chess, but maybe he could play.
Well,
Who
a few
knows?
games, yeah. And would it be the January one or the March?
Oh, I think we probably want to prepare for it. Maybe the middle of the
I see.
year.
Well, middle of the
Yeah.
year is summer and everyone is out, but
Okay.
maybe March, April,
Well, we've always managed to
Maybe.
attract a big
summer
turnout
ones.
for the
Summer
TNM.
ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
yeah,
I don't know. You guys decide. You're the organizers.
yeah.
But we've got the 50th. We got all year to
Cool.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Which one it should be and who's going to play, and you should find out the availability and maybe get a wonderful prize fund and
Yeah,
some
wonderful
wonderful
prize
players and
Yeah.
Get the mayor to come down for the 50th anniversary.
who
Mayor.
Maybe Governor.
Mayor, yeah.
get the mayor in
Yeah,
here. Yeah,
sure.
this is the mechanics is the 50th anniversary of this tournament. It's an amazing
Yeah.
event.
I'm sure we can get the mayor in. Right? Or Pelosi.
Yeah, we'll get some politicians.
I'll find
in
out
here.
where she goes to hairdresser on book a appointment, and then maybe I can talk to her. Is that a good
You know,
plan?
whatever gives us the inside track. You know.
Yeah.
We're-
Anyway.
So
You know, I think somewhere we have the proclamation from Arnold when he was governor for the Mechanics Institute.
Uh-huh.
the Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. Yeah.
He plays chess.
I know.
And I think so we have a proclamation for the mechanics from Arnold's.
Yes, John Donaldson would know where it is. Maybe
Nice.
he's told Abel, but it's
Nice.
somewhere there in the club.
So where we what are you guys watching?
Well, let's see. This is the end of. I guess there's only 2 games left. This is board 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually a really interesting game.
Yeah.
This is 1700 Daniel Wang versus 2100 Kristoff Bamboo.
Yeah.
And Daniel's really playing a tough little game here.
Yeah. Christopher doesn't seem too relaxed, so I can see that.
He's
He's-
tense.
Well, he's walking around and he's staring at the board and everything, so I was wondering what's up with that game.
Wait a minute. Hey, Nick, is Black losing his queen?
Well, not quite. Something like queen to F5, or queen to,
Oh, the queen can run out to A5.
yeah.
Queen can run to A5.
If you go back to G6, you get trapped on the A5.
He's close to getting his queen trapped.
Yeah.
I guess the queen can go to C3 too here, but Black's playing with fire.
He's
It's a
French.
fun position.
What?
He's French.
Is it French?
He's French, yeah.
Is he
He's-
like French from France?
Well, I don't know, but he has French Federation, so I'm kind of,
Wow.
I don't know. When he
Wow.
finishes, we can interview
Does he
him.
study with Farouja and
I don't
and
know.
Vacher Lagrave? Hey, big man, 5'7", 8'9", 7'4". How are you doing tonight?
Where are you joining from?
Yeah, where are you watching
man.
us from, big man? we're glad to see you.
Yeah.
We're
Russia.
What about us in Russia? Well, we have a lot of respect, respect for the Russians. They are. One of them is competing for the world championship right now.
Yeah,
So
and interesting games. You covered one of the games before the round, I saw.
we looked at the second round game before the round of this with Nepomniachtchi, and that was a great game. I think that second game was the best game so far.
Yeah.
Real intricate fight.
Yeah.
With
Did Nepo had a chance at any point?
it looked like he had a chance. He played he sacrificed a pawn back, where apparently the experts and the computers thought that maybe he should have just said, I can defend my king, I don't have to. What do you think, Nick?
No, I thought exactly that. When he gave back the pawn, that gave up his any chance for an advantage.
It was a good move, but it wasn't maybe the very best move, right? I mean, c3, it rolled along, in chess terms, yeah. But
that was a very risky opening by Carlsen. So I can't fault him for sometimes playing it a bit safe, like he did today.
Yeah, and 2 days before, right? The game 3.
Well,
Yeah.
when Carlsen is black, you can't blame him for taking a draw in a world championship.
right.
That's your objective, to hold them off when you're black and you try when you're white.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Maybe, like for Nepomniachtchi at some point, he's going to be like, hey, I'm playing for the world championship.
Nothing to lose.
This is my chance. If I play like a wuss, Carlsen's
high
going to
risk,
beat
high
me.
reward. You're exactly right.
So I think that as the match goes on and he holds him, maybe towards the end, Nepomniachtchi will really try something interesting. This will be his chance to do it, and he'd be crazy not to take the chance.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe you're right. For him, if the first 10 games are a draw, then he just tries to win the last.
Yeah, starts ratcheting up the pressure on Carlsen.
What is Kristoff doing?
Carlsen might be playing too tight to the vest at some point. He can tighten up and choke. It's possible.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to be a little quieter. Okay. Shh.
What is Kristoff doing here?
He's been playing a little without a plan.
Okay.
I think.
Because
and White's been playing more like to the point.
Yeah.
However, it's difficult for White to do anything. So,
But,
I think maybe Christopher's waiting for White to make a mistake, or
Well, what happens when that black bishop gets to c3 and you've got?
Yeah, that's true.
D4.
That's true. He's maybe maneuvering the bishop to c3. That's a very good point.
But then he can just play. Can he play d5?
He's going to probably have to.
And then start the pawns.
Yeah, maybe White should play rook f1, and if bishop c3, then just go d5 and try to get some tactic.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just going to lose a pawn, though.
Yeah. Can see that, but probably you're right.
I mean...
Okay, I need to get some steps in because I was sitting too much.
Okay, yeah.
It was nice talking to you guys.
It's 99 steps from the bottom of from the entrance of the building to the chess club.
Well, I went down and drank a gallon of water. I was so thirsty after my game.
I need to drink more water.
Yeah, but
All
it's
right.
interesting. Yeah, I was watching the body language of Kristoff. It's interesting. He's a very interesting player. So
Okay.
I might, if they finish in time and you're still here, I might invite him because we should get to know him better.
What did his body language say? Is he nervous?
I don't know. He's an interesting player. He walks and he stands up quite a bit when Christopher is on the move. He stands up and he's not at the board. So he was watching the monitor, things like that. So
I was a player like that. I had to get up after every move. And the big man, the person that's winning this tournament at the moment is Elliot Winslow, international master. He's got 4.5 out of 5, and he's starting to sort of pull away from the field.
Yeah, we had another player with equal points, but he lost to Elliot
beat him today.
And now it's up to Kristoff. If Christopher Bamboo can win, then he would be the
half a point behind.
Half a point behind,
Yeah.
and because Kevin Reese lost, right?
That's right.
Lost.
Kevin Reese lost.
So he would be in the second. And did Christopher and Elliot play already? No, they didn't. So if Christopher manages to win, then he will play
Winslow.
Elliot. Yeah. And that's the problem with these long tournaments with sections, is that eventually around 7 and 8 we're gonna pair out of score group because it's so.
But
Interesting games, exciting games.
Yeah.
So for sure.
This one's really good.
Oh, Jesus.
With Daviding and Kristoff.
Yeah, see, now black can't. Now if can black still try to sacrifice on d4, but f7 hangs. So that's.
But
then
you
you.
know what?
But
Did that work? Sacrifice on d4, even if we give up f7, take on h jack.
But this time white has rook f4. See, Kristoff missed a very good move earlier.
I see.
And which is giving away the exchange by playing rook takes d4.
Mm-hmm.
But in a different position, after taking on d4, he takes back with the rook, he loses the exchange, but then he can play rook takes h4 check, and there was no way for white to stop it. But now white could play rook f4 and defend the pawn on h4, and that's not so good. It still might be good for black, but what do you think, Nick?
Yeah,
Okay, guys, I'll leave you to it.
All right.
Yeah, I think actually black gets a fair bit of additional compensation for.
Yeah.
He's giving up an exchange for a pawn, but probably has something a little better. But bishop c3, white would go pawn to d5, and if you were, now you could sacrifice the exchange for the other bishop then. But if you go c takes d5, c takes d5, takes d5, then what's happening?
Wait a minute now, it's black's move. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
So I was saying if bishop to c3 by black. Attacking that d pawn, just trying to take.
I guess white plays d5. Or
Which
or
is a
no.
pawn sacrifice,
But it doesn't do much, right? Black could even, yeah.
I guess yes. If black is ready quickly with pawn to d4, so that's that it just won't work. Bishop c3. Wow.
It's a natural looking move.
What are you gonna do?
D5 just take twice with the pawns?
Yeah.
Yeah. White could try bishop h3 then, but so what? The rook can just move to e7 or something.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tricky looking, but probably not good enough. And h5, I don't know if white's got time for that now after bishop c3. And we did enjoy knight c5, trapping the queen guy. That was quite a move. Yeah.
Yes. That was something. That was like...
Some players, sometimes they have this thing where they don't know that their opponent's pieces can move backwards, right? And the knight comes back from its advanced position to attack the queen, and that's these kind of counterintuitive things, particularly by the opponent, really take people by surprise.
But Guy, we really enjoyed that action game.
Yeah, you've got a great style.
You went for it. It was
Adam, he's right up there.
things happening.
Adam Stafford?
Mercado.
Oh, sure, if he wants to.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get Adam Mercado in here.
Yes, Guy, we love it. Just
Hey, let's look at your usual brilliant game.
Hey, Nick.
Hi, Adam.
How's it going?
Yeah, scoot over so
Nice.
so we can see your mask. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now,
okay, there it is.
now it's there. Your
Nice,
mask is in the.
Gotta keep
So
that
we're
mask
gonna
on.
look at your game.
Yeah.
All right. Let's. Nick and I were looking at this game.
Yeah, I think.
Actually, we didn't see much of the opening.
Yeah, I think.
This is not so good.
Yeah, d4 is definitely a bad move because I know c5. The whole point of c5 is white can't play d4 because white doesn't want to make that exchange.
Right. Knight f3 first.
Yeah.
We have to keep the volume down in here because they
Okay.
can actually hear us out there. So white's given up his opening advantage completely.
Yeah.
And bishop d3 is better than bishop g5, although white has nothing.
Yeah, 'cause the structure is going to be pretty hard to defend by white.
So you could play h6 right away.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I was thinking I have an advantage anyways. I might as well just do it right away.
Okay.
And
What, Nick?
Yeah, I'm just wondering h6 if bishop takes f6, queen takes f6,
And knight e2.
and knight e2.
Yeah, I just saw that.
But
So we're talking
things
about
like-
here. If you
but
had
there's
played
things
my
like
idea of
bishop-
h6 to what?
But then there's things like bishop to c5, and the dark squares are very weak.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, black can't be unhappy no matter what.
But this is of course good too. That's
I mean, queen a5 would be maybe even a good. No, maybe not. All right. This is all great.
yeah, and then castles. He played knight f3, and here I actually thought for I think around half an hour on this move, because I was trying to queen d6 looked really annoying to me, even though it's not too hurtful. I found it annoying, so I was trying to decide if here should I play d5 and just blow the center open, but it would cost me a pawn, and I was trying to decide if the pawn was worth it, and I decided it wasn't because I felt white was just able to defend. So I just went for
You don't want to
exchange.
give. If you have a positional advantage,
Uh-huh.
you don't want to make a speculative
Yeah.
sacrifice,
Yeah.
right? Usually, right? So yeah, because there's other ways to play the position.
Yeah, that's what made me decide not to do it, because
Right.
I thought I have an advantage. Why do something that might be reckless?
Exactly. Yeah. So Nick was suggesting rook d8 here to play d6, I guess.
Rook d8 to place.
But then I guess then there's queen d6, like you said.
Yeah. So queen d6 is the move that I really wanted to avoid, just because I
Right.
felt like he might be able to hold down the queen side, even though his structure is messed up.
So what about queen e7? That's possible.
Yeah, I thought queen e7 maybe, but I thought he'll just play e5.
Then you can go f6. That's structurally that's good for you
Yeah,
too.
yeah. For some reason, I didn't want to open my king up, but it's probably harmless.
Yeah, e takes f6, rook f6. You're the
Yeah.
one with the action there.
Yeah.
Maybe, but still, I mean, okay. What do you think, Nick? I'm always asking Nick. What do you think?
It's also b6. b6 is a move.
B6.
B6,
too.
yeah.
And if queen d6, maybe knight a5 and gain a tempo with knight to e7 to c5.
Oh, that's
I
an
see.
interesting idea.
Yeah.
See, he's not worried about e5 either. Neither am I.
Uh huh.
You're just going to go back with your queen, and then play f6 or something like that, and you're going to be fine there.
Yeah.
It's more important, kind of blockading that c pawn, or it's just it's part of the ideas. I mean,
Yeah.
you do have to watch out. Maybe e5 could be good, but it's maybe not as important as you were thinking.
Yeah. So yeah, I
But
thought.
that looks okay too.
95, yeah, that's.
Maybe he could take and play queen d4. Instead he plays bishop e2.
Bishop e2, yeah.
But maybe taking and playing queen d4. I don't know.
Yeah, so now I'm going to put the knight on f5 and just try to go on an attack.
Yeah, this was kind of cool.
Castles.
What do you think of this? Again, I'm thinking of developing. I'm like, well, you're doing all this nice stuff, but what about developing your queen side? But still, okay.
Yeah, and here I think, I'm not sure if this was so good because now I can play d5. Because, okay, this whole time I've been waiting for an opportunity. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, this whole time I've been waiting to play d5, and now that he blocked his queen off, I felt now was the time.
That's gotta be a good move. You cannot.
Because also I want the bishop to come in.
But can't he take twice on d5 and get rid of his?
He played pawn e5.
Yeah, so now I felt like I could give up a pawn because I have a strong attack coming up.
This is an interesting idea, Nick.
Oh, so it was a pawn sacrifice.
Yeah, so this is an interesting idea. What happens if knight f3?
Or if knight f3,
Queen g6.
Or even I think bishop h3 was good because if he takes, I have queen check.
Knight f3, bishop h3. It's the tactics, Nick.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
bishop e3, cover that.
Yeah, this was. We're looking at the positional stuff, and you're looking at more of the tactical stuff.
When you give up a pawn, you have to look at the tactical stuff.
Yeah, no, and plus, we're kind of armchair detectives, and you're like living the blood of the game.
Yeah.
So.
So he went here. He settled on knight c2, and I was happy with that because I knew he couldn't play knight there, and now his knight's far away. So yeah, now I'm just threatening checkmate.
So what about queen g6, which threatens the pawn?
I felt he could.
Yeah, bishop f3.
Bishop f3. But now, okay. I mean, you got to hand it to black. This is an active way of playing. It's not necessarily my cup of tea. Let's just go back because you made a choice, which was an interesting one. But in this position, I think Nick or I would have played something like b6 and bishop b7 or something like that. Right, Nick?
Well, this pawn to d5 to me seems quite risky.
Listen to the Grand Master.
Yeah, it was so tempting just to want to get the bishop in, though. That was the main reasoning behind it.
Well, we enjoyed that it opened the game.
This was the move that I'm not sure about. This e5, because you could just play e takes d5.
Yeah, but
right?
and then after pawn takes, knight takes.
Yeah.
I
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it, but I felt like my knight was in a good position.
Right. In fact, after pawn takes, you could play your queen g5 move again, and you haven't given up a pawn.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's possible.
Yeah, I felt like the reason I played e5 was I felt it was more forcing.
It cuts the board in two.
Yeah.
In a way, but e takes d5 looks okay, I think. Adam Adfost is asking how your game was.
It was good.
We're looking at it.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to see the good stuff.
So what happens after knight e3?
Knight e3, I think I had knight h3 check.
And then
king h1, knight takes pawn, and his knight's hanging.
That's
a knight takes
yeah,
f2.
you regain your pawn.
Yeah.
You regain your pawn with a good game. But still, that position, yeah, okay. That's still a position that's not necessarily better for you, right?
Because I was like, well, I get the pawn back.
Yeah, you get the pawn back.
I have active pieces.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's fine. I like it.
And yeah, now he's losing the rook. This was
wins the exchange.
Yeah. Because
pawn takes f5 seems a very strange move.
Okay, we're looking at white's pawn takes f5.
Instead of pawn takes f5, something like king to h1.
King h1.
Yeah, and then I probably would have just took on e4, and now my rook and bishop is coming in.
So bishop takes e4, but he can defend with that knight on e3, and you don't have that knight h3 thing anymore.
Yeah. From White's perspective, it does look really scary though.
Yeah, it does. But from White's perspective, he's defending and he's a pawn up.
Yeah.
Either way, it's scary. Maybe king h1 was a sounder move,
Yeah.
and e takes f5, which develops you,
Yeah.
right?
Probably-
Bishop f5.
Yeah, King H1 probably was a better prophylactic.
Sure it was, because look at what happened.
Yeah, so he knows he's losing the rook. So.
Yeah, rook e1, knight h3 check. So now White's just losing the exchange, and he's got a pawn, but it's probably not enough.
And yeah, and after I think he played king takes, and I have
he has to take with the queen.
And this was a really nice shot.
Yeah, it's really because he has two pieces he could have took with, and neither of them worked.
That
so
was really nicely
yeah, it's
done.
really interesting.
Yeah, no.
That's a great.
Yeah,
Yes.
we were. Elliot. So who pointed that one out? One of us geniuses pointed it out.
Yeah, it's funny because
Mike Walder, yeah,
I
but
did-
it was the genius who played it. So
I didn't think he was going to play king f1, so I didn't calculate it. I thought he was just going to like take with the queen or something. But after he played king f1, I immediately saw, oh, it's just knight takes g2.
now, is there a forced win after queen takes f1?
Probably because maybe I'm not sure.
Well, there's e4.
e4 is coming. Yeah.
Oh, e4.
E4 isn't powerful. Bishop takes e4, knight h3 check,
Yeah.
and knight f2 check wins his queen, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. Queen takes f1.
Pawn to e4.
Bishop to g4.
Oh, bishop to g4. That's typical Nick. You're finding the good moves.
It's barely hanging on for White. It's so.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
At least
So,
it's something.
so
for
what
White.
about knight h3 check first?
Yeah, that's good for sure.
King h1, then e4. All right.
That does look
looks
pretty good.
That's crushing.
Or maybe
That's crushing. Because you take on h3, I'm like, okay, fine. Now I take on f3 with the pawn or the rook.
yeah, it all looks pretty good.
All right, but
He's
White can.
lost.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so he took with the king, and that was a great shot. Worthy of the tactics book.
Yeah, it's pretty. And
Very
then-
pretty.
Yeah, just queen takes knight. And he tried defending for a while, but
No, yeah, he
yeah. So I want my main concern is making sure those two passed pawns don't go anywhere. So I
that's good, and yeah, playing actively yourself and doubling up. Yeah, and now moving in,
yeah,
right.
threatening queen d1 check.
which he saw maybe this time.
Yeah,
And again, nice move, putting a little vice on the position, vice grip.
yeah. And now he
We were looking at queen e3 here.
yeah, I think queen e3.
You're winning.
Yeah.
You can play queen c4, I guess.
Yeah.
Or trade queens and play rook takes c4. That's probably better.
Yeah, so yeah, he's under a lot of pressure, so he just blunders back into
Yeah.
rook c2, which is the original idea. Yeah,
Nice game, man.
yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a real talent. We watch your games. You're one of the funnest players to watch on
Nice.
chat for Nick and I, because you're always full throttle ahead trying to
Yeah, it's funny. I
get
don't
your play.
I don't consider myself a particularly aggressive player, but
Oh, you are.
yeah, I guess those type of lines just appeal to me more than maybe more positional stuff. Maybe that's just I don't know my style. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
no, it is. No, you have a definite you have a definite tendency to play a certain kind of chess, and very enjoyable. And it's also brings rewards and wins, a lot of
Yeah.
nice wins. So yeah. And
more
you're
fun than Carlson and Pomniachtchi.
yeah, much more fun than Carlson
Nice.
and Pomniachtchi.
Have you guys been watching the matches?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been staying up late, and I'm able to catch
Wow.
around an hour of them until I finally fall asleep
Wow.
from exhaustion. But yeah, I really liked yesterday's game with that Petrov. That was really interesting.
Oh, I didn't. That's the one game I haven't paid any attention to. I just
Yeah.
ran through the moves, and that was
Magnus
it.
had a really nice novelty with he played knight h4 and then g4, It was really interesting.
Yeah. That's funny that's all known and a novelty. It's
They have those neural network supercomputers that they use to prepare. So they have a lot of crazy stuff under their sleeves, probably.
That's just too. That is too funny. So yeah. How do they? How do they remember all that stuff, Nick? I mean, chess players always have good memories, but now the amount of memory that these players have is amazing.
Yeah, that's a lot to remember all the variations.
Yeah. I mean, just things like, I saw the Carlsen win the queen versus rook and pawn, where the pawn was on the 4th rank. Did you see that game, Nick?
No.
Yeah, Carlsen, a couple of years back, Carlsen beat somebody with queen versus, and he just knew the whole thing. He just knew the whole technique involved. Took him no time at all. Just Grandmaster knowledge is quite amazing. Positions that were a little dodgy, people didn't know them so well. Now they just know this stuff. But rook and pawn endings still have them mystified.
Yeah, who was that game that, was it Mamajerov who lost that drawn ending?
Yeah. Rook and pawn endings they're the ones.
Yeah.
They're the ones
they say they're all supposed to be draws, but there's so much that can go wrong.
Yeah, no, they're not all draws. Yeah, well, let's see what other game is going on.
Clemens.
Oh, this is... Yeah, well, first of all, this is the Daniel Wang Kristoff Bamboo game. Black hasn't managed to play bishop c3 for some reason. And meanwhile, white has managed to... The queen has gone all the way around the board to g3, and white's played h5.
So that queen trade fourth.
Yeah, I mean, queen h4 check doesn't seem very promising, I suppose.
Yeah, it looks like it could get a little dangerous for black.
Black doesn't want to give up his queen. Oh, I guess he does.
Black's, I think, been trying to trade queens, and it was white who was trying to avoid it.
Really?
Yeah. And now the question is, does black just pick up the d pawn with bishop c3? It looks like he does. But white did manage to get that pawn h5 in the meantime. What's your record against Guy Argo?
We've played a few times. I think.
Yeah, he's saying that in the chat here.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think he's won some, I've won some.
Yeah,
I think
you guys have a similar.
Yeah, he always gets white against me, I think, because I remember all our games were King's Gambits, pretty much.
King's Gambits.
King's Gambits. Yeah.
Oh gosh. It's like we're living in the distant caveman past here at the Mechanics.
I mean, they say it's better to play something than something that's good.
That's true. Yeah. That's totally true. Actually, I wrote a little chess article for the newsletter in which I advocate for taking your opponent into something that you don't know anything about. Because then you're thinking for yourself, and you can, of course, you don't want to just get blown away after 5 moves, so but you have to put a little preparation into it. But sometimes it can be good to just throw yourself out of your comfort zone so that you're thinking freshly,
As long as you don't walk into some long line of computer analysis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, and what other game is going on here?
So Clemens game still going on?
Yeah, Christian Clemens. Oh, Nick, this is your ballpark, Nick. Look at this.
Is it a bad bishop against a good knight?
No.
Oh no, king and pawn ending. My God.
I'm not even going to go into how we got here.
Fascinating. Wow, black has the advanced king, but a double pawn. Yeah, this.
I think we should spend some time here. This is really interesting. White can force a little inroad onto the queen side by playing a4 too, maybe giving his king the c4 square.
Yeah, but right now it get pushed back. A4, B4.
Right.
Can black play f4 and give up a pawn? And then,
maybe.
And then play g5 and try to create a passer?
But I think that the white king gets around in time. He takes f4, g5, e4 check, and you'll be able to take him on d4.
So what black plays pawn sacrifice with pawn f4? What if white just takes with the e pawn?
Yes, let's go pawn to g5.
Yeah, g5 is logical as an opening move. Wow, this is right up. Yeah, okay, so g5. Now white what passes? Does does pawn to b4 help black or white? Oh, it helps black, surely.
Maybe you want to. Oh, it's really tough.
This was one for the newsletter.
Black has to be the one that's a little better, correct?
Should be with the advanced king.
Yeah. Also,
and also that white can't really play to advance. It looks well.
because black has a few.
What if black just passes with king c5? Can white do anything? I think that's a good question to ask. I mean, that's maybe the first question to ask. What do you think?
Now, who gets into Zugzwang in this position?
And what is the Zugzwang position? You got an yeah.
Maybe white should start with pawn to b4, and although.
So black would play a4, right? Because if a b4, king b4, looks like white's making some progress.
Maybe yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's probably winning for white.
King c6.
Yeah.
And then white plays d4 and king a5 or something.
Yes, and all the actions on the queen side, and the double pawn really hurts you if the actions on the. If it's b4 pawn to a4, then what can white do? And not much.
You can go around and play king f3 and e4 check, but then black can probably take and go king d4 and then win over on the queen side.
Yes, you go e4 check right off black's double pawn, and black has all the winning chances.
Yeah. So king f3 and e4 check doesn't look like. What if the black king is on e5 when you play king? When the white king's on f3.
I see, but it can't. I don't think white has any plan to try to win.
Yeah, I agree.
E4 is more a losing move.
Yeah, I think you're
D4
right.
also trades off the double pawns. Can't. Yeah, white has to just hold. And can black do anything?
Because I think black would like to get over to the queen side, but then one of white's center pawn's going to run. So I don't think that's possible.
So it doesn't look, and so black's only possibility is to play g5 and f4. But he can do it with the king on e5 too, right? So maybe that's the idea for black. g5. What does white do on g5?
Yeah, the pawn to f4 by black. e5, king e5, and f4 is the plan. Very tough to meet.
Okay, so
G5,
g5, king d2, king e5, king e2, f4. Wow, I think white's in trouble there, huh? Can white blockade then with g? Oh no.
If g5, can white play h4?
Whoa, that was strange.
Oh, I might have. Maybe. I don't
No,
think
no,
I touched anything.
I don't think he did. That was, it's like, hey, take a look at this game.
Which one did you go to?
We were looking at. Wow, we were looking at one game and then it just
Yeah, I was updating it. It was Christian Clemens and Nicholas Wang.
oh.
I was updating it with the score sheet because there was something incorrect, but it's good now.
Oh, what was the game with the king and pawn ending?
Oh,
It was Nicholas Wang and Christian.
yeah. We have a different.
But
No, we have a different game here.
Yeah, I think the game's all switched up.
The game got switched up. This does look like the Christian Clemens Nicholas Wang game,
it's over.
and it was
You see,
it was a draw after 34
White
moves.
ended up taking the bishop on f6,
Yeah,
double
at
the
34.
pawns. Pawn to e3 happened.
You know what? They agreed to a draw after move 34, Nick.
That is the position right there.
Where they agreed to a draw?
Yes.
What was that game we were looking at?
Yeah, I have no idea what
No,
that
because
game.
I was updating that game because they had started analyzing.
Ah,
So it
Oh, I see.
they were looking at analysis, Nick.
yeah.
So we were looking at what they thought
we
might have happened.
were looking at the DGD board at.
Right, so they agreed to a draw, then they started moving the pieces,
Right,
analyzing.
I got it,
Recorded
okay.
it as a,
Okay,
yeah. So that's the final position.
final position.
Mhm.
Okay, well that's fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah. I was looking at their game earlier. It looked pretty even to me. I thought it was probably going to be a draw.
All right, so that game is a draw. So we're left with one game left. Am I right? Yeah, because Mr. Adam Mikado is sitting right here next to me, won this game, and this.
Ooh, action. Let's see this.
Wait a minute, White's giving up a rook.
Well, he's got bishop takes e6
Yeah.
coming. Wow.
Oh yeah. Jeez, talk about underestimating the enemy here.
So yeah, if rook takes, bishop takes e6. That just looks good for white.
Yeah, because you have g6.
My.
What an upset. Daniel Wang, rated 1700. Kristoff Bamboo has overlooked a nice shot here.
Yes.
All right, so let's try to survive here. Bishop f5.
And yeah, we have to take your rook on g7,
And then rook takes d7.
and we take your pawn on f5.
You mean the bishop?
Sorry, bishop on f5.
All right, I take back.
Taking the pawn, and
Rook f5, bishop takes d4. White's up a pawn in the rook and pawn ending. But his pawns
Yes.
are far advanced up the board on the king side and a little vulnerable. And black's rook is suddenly in a good spot.
yeah, but I bet White has good winning chances in that.
Yeah, rook
maybe you go
e5
pawn to
right away or
G-
something.
Pawn to g6.
Or rook
You know,
e5, yeah.
You have some background mating threats.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
if you play like Capablanca, you're sure to win it.
Yeah, nice move.
Black's running a little low on time.
Both
also.
players are low on time. This is a game-changing move here. Rook f7, really nice.
So does black have to play bishop f5, you think?
Well, what do you think? Bishop e6 is a big threat. I mean, king h8. That doesn't seem to do anything. You just lose a bishop. Rook f8 check and g6 check at the least.
Yeah.
How about e5?
e5, that just hangs the rook at d7. Right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Looks like bishop f5 is forced.
Yeah, maybe you could go bishop g4. Oh, no.
Oh, bishop d4? Yeah. Huh. No, rook f8 check. Oh, no. No.
Oh, rook f8 check? Well,
No, then rook f8, bishop e6, rook interferes anyway. Something's got to be good for white. He just needs to not get too fancy and loose in some weird way.
Yeah.
But bishop takes d4, huh?
well, probably your bishop f5 is better. It's all the same. White's a pawn up in the rook, and then
This is it, folks. The last game of the Tuesday night marathon on the DGT boards anyway, and you can see the players. They're in the far right corner, battling it out here. In the foreground, Erica in the red hair is playing. I'm not sure who her opponent is.
yeah, it's hard to tell from the back.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from the back. And Akko, we can see the back of him. I happen to know that that's Akko Hadari.
Hey Paul, what about bishop d3?
Bishop d3.
Rook takes d7.
Rook takes d7 is just wins a piece. So
I hate when bishop f5.
well, now the simplest is just
He did it.
yeah. The simplest is just rook takes d7, rook d7, bishop f5, bishop f5, rook f5, bishop d4, takes blah, and then white plays g6 like Nick says, with a threat of probably rook e5, or Capablanca wins this easily.
Yeah, I think rook d7, bishop f5, pawn f5, rook f5, bishop d4, king f2, so the white king comes into the game. Black king's cut off.
It's funny. Both players achieved their life's dream. White infiltrated at f7, and black gets in at c3. But black was a move too late. He messed around, and white got these dangerous moves in on the king side, h5 particularly. And black missed some good moves earlier too. So he was too hesitant.
Yeah.
And trying to sort of play too safe. Sort of like Carlsen and Nepomniachtchi.
So Kristoff said, well, we got a shot here that they didn't get in their game.
Yeah,
Rook f7.
black's time pressure is what's going to make it hard to even try to defend for a draw. Assuming white plays a little quicker.
Well,
Because rook takes d7 is
just
probably the only move.
yeah, unless you're starting to, try to get fancy and think you see something and suffer from, delusions, which happen and hallucinations, which happen all the time.
But yeah, Paul, I think I'm going to get going.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you
All
for
right.
analyzing my
Thanks for-
game.
Yeah. See you next week.
Yeah. See ya, Nick.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
All right. The masks are off. The gloves are off. So, how do you want to do this little experiment tomorrow with the Zoom?
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you.
So
wake up.
what I did at home was I set up a meeting,
Okay.
and then I'm just a little unsure why I was unable to join the meetings. Is it because I wasn't given permission to join the meetings?
I don't know. So let me set up the meeting like your
Like on
a class,
Abel's,
yeah.
like on Abel's
and then I'll
account.
have you try to
To-
start it, or
Okay.
we'll
All right.
connect over the phone and we'll
Okay.
do that.
Okay.
Like when you
Because
wake
it
up.
seemed I was having trouble even making my own meeting, and then then I
Yeah.
fixed that, so now I can make a meeting, and
Yeah.
and
So,
so
yeah,
it
let
looked like
me-
it worked, but still there's some
let's
doubts.
let's do a demo version tomorrow morning, so you
Okay, not
And
too
then-
early.
not too early, definitely not too early.
I'm in the office. It should be before. Let's do it on my. So I'm at home on my
Yes,
computer.
Yes.
So let's say around 10.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Is that good?
Yeah, I'm awake already.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm just
All right.
kidding.
I'll get in
That's
touch with
good.
you around
Yeah,
10.
that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judah and I working out some problems. I teach a class on Zoom, and Zoom wasn't working on my computer the other day, so
Oh,
now it seems to be working, but because I have 2 classes tomorrow, I have to make sure that things are going smoothly.
2 classes. So what are the 2 classes?
I'm teaching the mechanics beginners class, adult beginners class for members.
Okay.
So if you're a member of the Mechanics Institute, we offer rotating free classes in chess for members. And Abel was teaching the class for a while. Now I'm teaching the class. So it's it's adults who haven't learned how to play, but are fascinated by chess.
Okay, very good.
And then there's the Art of Attack class, which is based around the Vukovic book. And this is like the second time I think I've taught this class. I made a little syllabus out of the book, and it's a useful book. There's a lot of checkmating patterns in it, a lot, and he plays all the variations out to mate. So it's very useful to get used to all these different patterns and stuff. And instead of saying "and mate in 3," he goes to the trouble of playing all these variations out to mate. Many variations in games. Played it all the way out to mate, so you see how it's done. And that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the Zoom has to work.
But Zoom has to work. And White just throws out G6, Nick, and
Very well done. That's a
Yeah.
great move. My God, how old is this David?
I think he's a young adult. I mean, I think he's an adult. I'm not sure.
That's a winning endgame move, just boxing in the black king.
Yeah.
For instance, like rook to d1 check, king f2, rook, king e3, rook takes pawn on a2, do rook f7.
And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, pawn to b5, then the rook moves to e7 threatening mate. The king has to run out, king to f8, and rook h8 check, king e7.
H6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a forced sequence. I think white should be careful here and not get stuck on the idea that maybe rook f1 is a good move. Plays king f2. You gotta hand it to the white side here. Just
very, very good.
Playing like a champ here. This is sophisticated play here.
Yes.
You know, I mean, considering that the white player is rated 1700, this is really excellent here. And now rook f7 is just devastating.
So maybe still a chance. Rook f7, you go rook back to h2.
And stop that h-pawn stone dead, right? Rook b7, king f8.
Oh, rook b7, king f8, rook back to f7 check.
You mean b7?
Well, sorry. After rook a2.
Rook h2. Oh, white played king d4 instead of rook f7.
Oh, can we just stop him with pawn to b6? Oh, I don't like that.
How about, yeah, I mean, now rook d2 check and rook d7 maybe? That's passive.
Yeah, that's passive.
Sometimes passive is the only way, but...
Yeah, I think that would lose. Like, if the king gets to b6, like pawn to c5, pawn to b4, then rook to f7.
There you go. Right. Yeah. And then rook b4, rook d4. You lose the pawn on b4, but yeah, it would be lost at the end of the day.
Yeah, let's up that white king, pawn to b6. Pawn to b5.
Well, this is still giving white the opportunity to go wrong. I think white took a step in the wrong direction with king d4.
Yeah.
They should have played rook f7 and immediately started in on that stuff. But I think white's still winning here.
Yeah, it's getting close. Pawn b5 is a good move.
White could have just played rook c5. That would have been deadly there.
Ooh.
Right.
Oh, king c4, pawn takes c4. Now, don't go pawn takes c4, you lose your rook.
Yeah, I didn't. If black could just eliminate all these pawns, or the pawn on b3, I guess, is the pawn to be eliminated.
Yeah, maybe pawn to a4.
Pawn a5, rook c5. Oh, rook c5, rook c2 check. No. Boy, that's a little complicated, but what about that? Rook c5, rook c2 check, king d4.
On a5, we go pawn to a4. And if rook c6, then we go rook c2.
Yeah.
But,
White's made a lot of unnecessary moves here. And the queenside situation's black's doing fine, I think. trying to eliminate all these pawns.
Maybe king to c5.
And then let's say I get really rook a3.
King takes c6, rook b3, rook a5.
Oh.
What's happening in that?
Do I go back down to the back rank and just hope for the best?
That sounds like a good plan.
It looks like it might be a draw if you put your rook on the back row and that's it.
And then can white exchange rook on the back row? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, if you could exchange rooks on e8 or something like that.
But it still doesn't work. Because black can always go king to d8.
I think we're going to find out. Black escapes with a miracle draw, I think, here.
Well, there's time pressure, too.
Yeah.
Without time pressure, black could make a draw.
Okay. White should play for a win here with b4. Maybe.
B4, rooks to check and pawn to...
I think it's difficult to tell what's going on here.
Is that
A very dangerous pawn.
I saw Elliot with some score sheets. Yeah, we're still at it, Mike. I mean, b4 is... This position is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly if white plays b4 here. Then the white king will need to hide behind its own b pawn if the black pawn gets down to a2 or something. Or I can see a situation like that. Not to mention some bizarre stalemating possibilities, maybe.
Yeah, no, b4 looks like a good move. But anyway, white's a pawn ahead.
So king c6, a b3, rook b5, threatening mate. And then black goes to the back rank. All right, that's the scenario we're getting here.
Ooh, probably b4 was a better move.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that move?
So rook a8 is probably better than king f8. All right, white's got to stay on the d file here. Playing to b6 is silly. King d7.
Yeah, but you keep checking until that.
Yeah. So black just has to put his rook on the back rank anyway at some point. The players are down to their under 2 minutes each. Okay, what's the theory here after rook d8, rook b3? I mean, eventually black is going to have to play his rook down to the e8, to the 8th rank. Can white win this?
I'm guessing it's a draw with the rook on the back rank. I think the only thing to try to do is play a king ending, and then that just doesn't work. So we'll take the pawn now.
This is still a nice game by white, who...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So white can play rook b5 and pawn to h6, and the game is a draw.
Yeah, it's sort of easy to play the black side. Okay, get your king over there. King f5. Seconds. Is that a move? Sometimes you're so focused on the plan, you just forget.
Yeah, this is Daniel needs to step up to the plate here for the chess moves.
Okay, well, made it very simple for draw.
Okay, we're just about, unless white oversteps, and which is quite possible here. Rook b1 would have been fine, but black can just keep the rook on the back row.
Yeah.
And white can force a draw here. Rook a6 is amusing. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen that before. Have you, Nick? In that exact position? I didn't even know that was an idea.
And stalemate.
That's funny. Of course, I never looked at these positions too much, but that's hilarious. Hey, an amusing end to the to our evening here. Okay.
Epic fight.
Yeah.
Great games tonight.
Yeah. It's been an interesting evening here at the club. Thanks everybody for joining us. Good night, Nick. Here's Abel Talamantis going to give us a sign off.
No, great coverage, and nice ending to the round, and hopefully we see some people on Saturday for the McLean Memorial 4 rounds G45.
You knew Guthrie McLean pretty well, right,
Guthrie
Nick?
McLean, great guy, and as I say, the big bookcase there in the test room. It was he and Guthrie McLean and Bob Berger brought that up the winding stair.
Oh my gosh.
Strong young men, strong old guys. It's funny. I never met him. I don't think. Isn't it amazing? The time I spent away from San Francisco, was a whole thing happened here that
Just kind of
passed me by. The rise of Mark Pinto, and
right.
Mark Pinto is another person I'd never met.
So Paul left, and they said, now that Paul left, now's the time to make things happen.
Yeah. That's right. These great tournaments were held. These wonderful parties happened.
Right. All right, everyone. Have a good night. Thanks for following, and
come see us at the McLean on Saturday.
We'll see you there. Bye, everyone.
Good night.